Subi.
Yes, ma'am. I'll stay in the settings and I'll start.
Start, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Raise your hands once it's done. Every new day brings with it immense possibilities to make this world a happier place. Good morning, everyone. Dream doesn't become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. It's my privilege and pleasure to take this wonderful opportunity to welcome you all for the international webinar on Business Dynamics 2020 and e-release of Annual Students Journal Focus. On behalf of the management of Punjab Association, Anna Adarsh College for Women, Dr. Jayashri Ghosh, Director, Management Studies, Anna Adarsh College for Women, Dr. R. Shanti, Principal, Anna Adarsh College for Women, Internal Quality Assurance Cell of the college, and the Department of Corporate Secretaryship, Shift 1 and 2, I extend my warm greetings to one and all. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them, said Walt Disney. Yes, with sheer determination and perseverance, our students and the faculty of the Department of Corporate Secretaryship feel immensely proud in hosting this international webinar today.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Light is a symbol of brightness and prosperity. Now, we will have the digital lighting of the lamp.
शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते
A day without prayer is a day without a blessing. I now call Ms. Sharada to start this day with an invocation song to receive the divine blessings from above.
वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा शुक्तां ब्रह्मविचारसारपरमाम् आद्यां जगद्व्यापिनीं वीणापुस्तकधारिणीम् अभयतां जाड्यान्धकारापहां हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां जडगतीं पद्मासने संस्थितां वन्दे तां परदेवतां भगवतीं बुद्धिप्रदां शारदां वरदे वीणावादिनि वरदे प्रियश्वतन्त्ररव अमृतमन्त्रनव भारत मे वरदे वरदे भारत मे वरदे 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 वीणावादिनि वरदे 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 नवगति नवलय ताल छंद नव नवलकंठ नव अमृत मंत्र नव नव नभ के नव वृहक वृंद को नव पर नव स्वर दे वरदे नव पर नव स्वर दे वरदे वरदे वीणावादिनि वरदे 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 काट अंध उर के बंधन स्तर महाजननी ज्योतिर्मय निर्जर कलश बेद तम हर प्रकाश कर जगमग जग कर दे वरदे जगमग जग कर दे वरदे वरदे वीणावादिनि वरदे प्रिय स्वतंत्र रव अमृत मंत्र नव भारत में भर दे वरदे भारत में भर दे वरदे वरदे वीणावादिनि वरदे वरदे वरदे.
Thank you, Sharada. May I now request our dynamic and beloved principal, Dr. Shanti, to welcome the gathering. Ma'am, please.
Asha, tell once more. No, ma'am is not muting. Unmute பண்ண மாட்டேங்கறாங்க பாரு.
May I now call upon our dynamic and beloved principal, Dr. R. Shanti, to welcome the gathering. Ma'am, please.
Namaskar. Teamwork makes the dream work. No one can whistle a symphony. It takes a whole orchestra to play it. A very happy morning to one and all. On behalf of the management, Punjab Association, faculty and students of Adarsh College, I consider it as an honor to welcome this august audience to the most intriguing program with the background of a pandemic destroying lives and livelihoods. At the outset, let me welcome eminent scholars, honored guests, my dear staff and students of Corporate Secretaryship Department, and my fraternity from Adarsh College for Women. It's indeed a proud moment to see so many distinguished scholars and teachers who have come from all over the world to share their knowledge and experience and to explore better ways of educating our future leaders. I would like to take this opportunity to express my deep appreciation for CA Dr. Gopal Krishna Raju, Master Trainer of IT and CST, faculty in ICAI, ICWI, and ICS Chairman, Valuation Standard Board, partner K. Gopal Rao and Company, for honoring us with the keynote address for this webinar. I also wish to give a special thanks to Dr. Harini Mittal, Assistant Professor, City University of New York, USA, Mrs. Varsha Kulkarni, Operations Intelligence Engineer, Micron, Singapore, and Mr. Will Schwab, Vice President, Marketing and Sales, ISUD London, UK, for this occasion. CS Dr. B. Ravi, Managing Partner, B. Ravi and Associates, Chennai, is the mentor to most of us in the Commerce and Corporate departments. His knowledge, humility, and his passion to teach cannot be compared. He's a person who made me read for almost a month after every lecture. Even a casual conversation has given me the inspiration to ponder on such topics for days together. Sir, I use this stage to thank you for your selfless devotion to increase the standard of learning among us and your words of wisdom that stands testimony for the place in which Adarsh is right now placed. His invaluable help and advice ever since the birth of Focus and his powerful motivational speech that boosts the morale of our students is unparalleled. This is the first international webinar specifically devoted to Business Dynamics 2020 conducted by the Department of Corporate Secretaryship. The novel coronavirus COVID-19 has infected more than 1 million people worldwide. This beastly attack on humanity has impacted lifestyles, businesses, economies, and most importantly, the common well being of people, which we have all taken for granted. The business landscape, in my opinion, will evolve and revolve in the coming days in the form of a shift towards localization, digital transformation, increased cash transactions, supply chain resilience, and to be very precise, a very robust, agile, and a stronger business outlook, especially in the emerging economies like India. The most striking consequence of this pandemic has been on our social well behavior, the way of doing business, reaching consumers, and of course, to keep the entire society safe and secure. Given the magnitude of the socio-economic impact in India, further stimulus from the governments are needed, especially for the unorganized sector. As the world and Indian economy attempts to balance mitigating the health risks of COVID-19 with the economic risk, immediate measures are to be taken to prevent the collapse of liquidity, protect the vulnerable, while enabling social distancing, intensify health interventions on a war footing, and unclog production and supply chain for this. I would like to thank all the faculty and students of the Departments of Corporate Secretaryship for the efforts to make this happen, and many others who have helped in the process, and the technical team of Anna Adarsh, who has made thousands view the program sitting in the comfort of their homes via YouTube telecast. I sincerely wish that this webinar will be a great success, not only as a chance to share knowledge and experience in the Business Dynamics 2020 at international level, but also as the beginning of a long and fruitful cooperation and friendship among fellow educators devoted to the most meaningful and worthwhile task of teaching and training our youth who will shape our future. The intention is not only to help us grow intellectually, but also to strengthen our creative faculty. Other than studies, art, and cultural streams, sports are also an equally important area of concern. The students of our college have excellently performed in intercollege, zonal, as well as national sports competitions. Our college is hence much renowned among other colleges, and I sincerely and our business work diligently in these areas so that they come out with flying colors, absolutely and respectfully. I once again welcome one and all and witness the entire Department of Corporate Secretaryship that have organized this mega event with the single objective of empowering the student community. Thank you, one and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. This gentleman who has a long-term association with our department, who sowed the seeds of focus and who acts as the guiding force and pillar of strength and support to all our endeavors. Yes, I am sure all of you would now know that this person is none other than our CS Dr. B. Ravi sir. May I now call upon Dr. L. Uma Maheshwari, Assistant Professor, to introduce Dr. B. Ravi. Ma'am, please.
Happy morning to one and all. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. B. Ravi, who is a managing partner of B. Ravi and Associates, Company Secretaries. He has done his doctorate in corporate and boardroom management in India from the University of Madras. He was a faculty member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India and Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, handling corporate laws for more than 3 decades. He is a member in the Board of Studies in BCom LLB program, the Tamil Nadu National Law School, Trichy. He is the chairman of the Expert Committee on Company Law and Corporate Matters of the Madras Chamber of Commerce. He has presented paper and articles in various seminars organized by Chamber of Commerce, associations, colleges, and professional bodies. He is a recipient of Best Speaker Award on company law from the Chartered Accountant Studies Circle and Vocational Excellence Award 2011 to 12 from Rotary Club of Madras. He is the author of the book Company Law Made Simple. Adakkam Amararul Uikum, Adangamai Arirul Uitvidum. Meaning, Adakkam ennum panbu oruvar devar naduve kondu சேர்க்கும். Your humbleness and achievements are a great inspiration to all of us, sir. On behalf of Corporate Department, I welcome you, sir, to address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Are you able to hear me first?
Yes, sir. You can proceed.
இனிய காலை வணக்கங்கள். இந்த விழாவிற்கு வருகை தந்திருக்கும் கல்லூரி முதல்வர்களுக்கும் பேராசிரியர் பெருமக்களுக்கும் நாளைய இந்தியாவின் நம்பிக்கை நட்சத்திரமாக விளங்கும் மாணவிகளுக்கும் சிறப்பு விருந்தினர்களுக்கும் எனது முதற்கண் காலை வணக்கத்தை பணிவன்புடன் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். எப்போதும் நான் பேச ஆரம்பிக்கும் போது முதல்ல ஒரு 2 வார்த்தை தமிழ்ல பேசிடுவேன். அப்புறம்தான் பிசினஸ் லாங்குவேஜுக்குள்ள வருவேன். காரணம், இன்றைய தலைமுறைகள் ஒவ்வொரும் உணர வேண்டியது தாயையும் தாய் மொழியையும் தாய் மண்ணையும் மதிக்க வேண்டும் என்பது. இது எனது சிறிய கருத்து அபிப்பிராயம். Now I move on to the business language. Respected principal, galaxy of professors, invitees, and my dear students, the future of India. Happy and healthy morning to one and all. At the outset, let me thank the principal for her kind words of wisdom and also kind words about me. And I am no stranger to Anna Adarsh. I belong to the family of Anna Adarsh, as I am associated with it is almost going to be 2 decades now. It gives me immense pleasure and pride to see the child focus is 16 years old now, and thank the Almighty for giving me the privilege to be associated with the release of the journal and also to deliver my address year after year since the concept focus was conceived. The title chosen for this international webinar is very apt in the current scenario where world is facing a very big challenge in the form of COVID-19, and it has kept everyone guessing as what is next. Business and business dynamics is no exception to this. While it is saddening to note that thousands and thousands of brothers and sisters have lost their lives due to COVID, and many were rendered jobless and have lost their livelihood, we should note that our mother country, India, has withstood the pressure since its fundamentals are strong, and have no doubt with brilliant brains in front of me, my dear students, we will emerge out stronger than what we were. COVID-19, though a saddening matter, it does kindle the creativity within every one of us, and every challenge it has posed has been taken up as opportunities in the right sense and newly noticed in the business environment and also the mental makeup of every stakeholder. It is a team effort in this crucial time that has helped us to overcome the difficult situation though not fully, but gradually, we are marching towards normalcy. The truth for success is the team effort, and no one need to go anywhere to validate the importance of teamwork. We can see it in Adarsh, Corporate Secretaryship Department. It is their team effort that has made this function possible in the challenging circumstances. The team, of course, includes my dear students who have stood by your gurus like disciplined sishyas. It gives me immense pleasure to inaugurate this international seminar, and we have a team of experts who will be exchanging their thoughts on varied subjects, and I'm sure the department will excel in every sphere of their activities and will hoist only the victory flag always. And very aptly, the last topic for today's discussion is Vetri Kodikattu. I wish all the professors in the department and my dear students of the department a great success in every walk of life, and the department to scale to new heights year after year. With this happy note, I formally inaugurate the seminar. Before I conclude, I just share just a couple of thoughts with my students. Dear students, விழித்து இருங்கள், விழிப்போடு இருங்கள், விருந்தோம்பலுடன் இருங்கள். Especially in this difficult situation, ஆண்டவன் நமக்கு அளித்த கரங்கள் உண்ணுவதற்கு மட்டுமல்ல, ஊட்டுவதற்கு என்பதை மறக்காதீர்கள். It's not only for us to eat, but also to feed others. Especially in the difficult situation, let us remember this. I know under every gain, there is a pain. The simple thing, the fragrance, the scent that we apply, the perfume that we apply, we are so excited with that. எத்தனை பேருக்கு தெரியும் அந்த வாசனை ஒரு ரோஜாவின் கண்ணீர் என்று. We must understand these small things, and we have greater responsibilities on the shoulders. Not only the education that will mold us as a good citizen, but also to see that we discharge our social responsibility to the best of our efforts. So CSR is normally being understood as corporate social responsibility. Please redefine it. It is every citizen's social responsibility. With these few words, I once again have very great pleasure in inaugurating this seminar. And only thing is probably that personal touch we used to have when we meet in person in that excellent auditorium of Adarsh. I still remember those days when we used to have a very small auditorium. Now it has grown from size to size. And I'm sure under the able leadership of Principal Shanti, it will go still further higher and higher and set as a role model for all the colleges. I thank you all once again for giving me this excellent opportunity. And I'm sure all of you will be benefited by the excellent thoughts you are going to hear from the other experienced speakers. Thank you very much. May God bless you all.
Thank you, sir, for that enlightening speech. I now call upon Dr. P. Radhika, Head, Associate Professor, Department of Corporate Secretaryship, Shift 1, to present the annual report of the department for the year 2019-20. Over to you, ma'am.
Benjamin Franklin rightly said, without continual growth and progress, such words as improvement, achievement, and success have no meaning. அனைவருக்கும் என் அன்பார்ந்த பணிவான இனிய காலை வணக்கங்கள். I take immense pleasure in presenting the annual report of the Department of Corporate Secretaryship for the academic year 1920, documenting its developments. This year recorded a slew of activities due to the unstinting efforts of the staff members and the students. The Department of Corporate Secretaryship was started in the year 1985 with 2 faculty members and 96 students. The PG department was started in the year 2003. Now the department is full-fledged with 20 faculty members and 950 students. Our students of both UG and PG produced outstanding results in the university examination. From inception, we have secured 328 university ranks at UG level and 203 university ranks at PG level. To enhance a tinge of professionalism, the Department of Corporate Secretaryship has initiated the Oral Coaching Center for CS Foundation course in the year 2007. Our faculty members were recognized as the faculty of ICSI SIRC. Our alumni of 1987 990 batch initiated Commerciary Memorial Endowment Prize for the highest marks in corporate theory and practical subjects. Our faculty members received various prestigious awards, naming a few: Abdul Kalam Ignite Award, My Guru Award, Acharya Ratna Award, Scroll of Honor, Best Paper Award. Our staff have published books on corporate accounting, volume 1 and 2, consumer rights, and also business ethics and corporate governance. I am proud to announce our department students have received various awards like Pagutarivi M received Arivu Malar Award for speech competition, then Arivu Pudir Award for Tamil Kavidai competition, Arivu Kalanjiyam Award for overall performance, Shivateja R won won gold and silver medals in senior national championship in athletics. Our students also won prizes for ADSEP in intercollegiate cultural events for more than 2 consecutive years. Yes, as an act of benevolence, the Department of Corporate Secretaryship has been continuously organizing outreach programs on various social issues like road safety, issues of housemaids and expectation of employees, issues of auto driver and public, manual scavenging, donation to Cancer Institute, helping hands at Mitra Rehabilitation Center, donation of food for pets, and awareness program on water scarcity. Then organize various games and spend quality time with the physical disabled children. The contemporary topics on current issues are dealt by the students as a part of the EVS project report. The following are naming a few: organic farming, Swachh Bharat, disaster management in Chennai, demonetization in India, waste management in India, epidemic management, air pollution in major cities. In the year 2005, the department pioneered to release the student annual journal Focus, a journal by the students for the student of the student, which gives ample scope for broadening the horizons on various topics such as corporate governance, building blocks of corporate world, portfolio management, emotional intelligence in corporate world, digital India, financial planning, a life skill, e-business evolution, mobile apps in service industry, and this year, business dynamics 2020 and 2021. The Department Association under the banner COPSTAR conducts national level, state level seminars, symposium, international conferences, colloquium, and CAPFest, which promote leadership and team spirit among the students. Invest in your professional development, specialize, and team up with colleagues who have different strengths, said Melissa Milove. The Department of Corporate Secretaryship commenced its activities for the academic year 1920 with an academic specialization program on Companies Act 2013 on 9th August 2019. The department was proud to welcome its alumni, C.S. Nisha Vijay Patel, Company Secretary in Practice and founder of Bislex Academy and Bislex Consultancy, as chief guests for the day. C.S. Nisha Vijay Patel oriented the students on the significance and scope of the new Companies Act 2013. Peter Drucker rightly said, entrepreneurship is neither a science nor an art, it is a practice. The Department of Corporate Secretaryship conducted a guest lecture on discovering entrepreneurial skills on 19th August 2019. Mr. Santosh Murkanandam, founder and CEO of Kalapasi Restaurant, addressed the audience about who is an entrepreneur, why be an entrepreneur, and the various major skills needed for it. Creativity is thinking up new things. Innovation is doing new things, said Theodore Levitt. The department conducted an innovative program on different avenues of investment in the current scenario on 24th August 2019. Mr. S. Sampath, Director, Bright Choice Investment Shop Private Limited, and well-known laughter yoga trainer, famously known as Sripananda. He addressed the audience about various avenues of investments and the return on such investments. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam said, all of us do not have equal talent, but all of us have an equal opportunity to develop our talents. In order to enhance the cognitive skills of the students, the department organized 3 intra-departmental competitions, a quiz competition on 3rd September 2019, dumb charades on 4th September 2019, and on the same day, connections. Hasinath Kuttimami has aptly said, every successful presentation is built on 4 pillars: people, idea, passion, and preparations. The Department of Corporate Secretaryship also organized an interdepartmental paper presentation on 4th September 2019. Students from various departments of Shift 1 and Shift 2 have participated with great zeal. The moderator for the session was Mr. D. Prem Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of Corporate Secretaryship, DG Vaishnav College, and he is also the Assistant Coordinator in Indira Gandhi National Open University. Helen Keller said, alone we can do little. Together we can do so much. A national seminar in collaboration with the Karur Vysya Bank Limited on the topic E-Business Evolution, Mobile Apps in Service Industries was hosted on 12th September 2019, wherein the department released its 15th edition of the Student Annual Journal Focus. Shri Anburaj V, Deputy General Manager, Karur Vysya Bank Limited, Chennai Divisional Office, Chennai, released the journal and handed over the first copy to Dr. Jayashree Ghosh, Principal, Anna Adarsh College for Women. The release of the journal was followed by inaugural address by C.A. Chinnaswamy Ganesan, Senior Partner and Head, Audit and Assurance Practice, Messrs. CNG, SN and Associates, Chartered Accountants and Independent Director, Railtel Corporation of India Limited, New Delhi. Keynote address by Shri Anburaj V, DGM, KVB, Chennai. Special address by Shri Vishwanathan Sambasivam, Founder and CEO, In Space Technologies Private Limited. The contributors for the technical session included Dr. Meera Venkat, President and CEO, Rise Global Bangalore, Shri Dharanidharan GD, Founder and Director, Social Eagle Chennai, Shri Narasimhan R, Journalist and Technology Blogger. Intercollegiate paper presentation took place as an analogical session moderated by Dr. B. Hema, Head Department of Corporate Secretaryship, Kumararani Meena Muttaya College. The national seminar concluded by closing keynote address by C.A. Narasimhan Ilangovan, Partner, Ken & Co., Chartered Accountants, Bangalore. The winners of the intra-departmental competitions, interdepartmental paper presentation, and intercollegiate paper presentation were distributed prizes. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam.
மொபைல் செயலியை பயனுள்ள வகையில் பயன்படுத்துவது தொடர்பான தேசிய கருத்தரங்கம் சென்னை அண்ணா நகரில் இன்று நடைபெற்றது. தனியார் மகளிர் கல்லூரியும் வங்கியும் இணைந்து மின் வணிக பரிமாணம், சேவை தொழிலில் அலைபேசியின் பயன்பாடுகள் என்ற தலைப்பில் இந்த கருத்தரங்குக்கு ஏற்பாடு செய்திருந்தனர். கல்லூரி படிப்பு முடிந்து தொழில்துறை செல்லும் மாணவியர்களுக்கு உதவும் கருத்தரங்கமாக இது அமைந்திருந்ததாக பங்கேற்றவர்கள் தெரிவித்தனர்.
இந்த லாஸ்ட் இயர் இந்த கருத்தரங்கு நடத்தும் போது எங்களுக்கு யாருக்குமே தோணாது இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஆன்லைன்ல நவ் வி ஆல் வில் ஃபங்க்ஷன். அப்ப நினைச்சோம் ரிகார்டிங் ஆன்லைன் ரிலேட்டிங் டு பேங்க்ஸ் நம்மளால வந்து இட் இஸ் மச் யூஸ்ஃபுல். Why not we organize mobile apps not only on banking sector but in also on other sectors like marketing and some of the manufacturing industries and service industries. These apps were very helpful and the food industry and the madri. Ana ipa almost all sectors they have to carry on their functions virtually. the epidemic situation made us to realize that, and it has come in reality, and which made us to function. It does even it includes and takes into account our educational sector also. Last year நாங்க பண்ணும்போது இந்த வருஷம் நாங்க ஆன்லைன்ல தான் கிளாஸ் எடுப்போம். We never felt and we never thought, but now this has come into reality, and all of us have adjusted to this reality what we face in our life. And at last, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam rightly said, if you want to shine like a sun, first burn like a sun. The Department of Corporate Secretaryship conducted UPSC Career Awareness Program on 18th September 2019 by Ms. Shri V. Nandakumar, IRS, Additional Commissioner of Income Tax, Department of Finance, Government of India. He guided civil service aspirants and motivated many students to think UPSC as a career opportunity. Now, move on to our seminar concept, how it has emerged and why we thought about that this seminar to be carried out by us based on this business dynamics 2020 and 2021. The novel coronavirus has not only affected the day-to-day life of human beings, but has its impact on businesses too, whether it is of big, small, or medium. Irrespective of the nature of business, whether it is of manufacturing or service industry, they face a challenge to stay and survive in the market because of this pandemic. Industries which are functioning on offline completely ought to make an attempt the areas where they can change themselves into a digitalized area. The safety of the employees are prioritized by many industries in this context. This is on the one side. On the other hand, many employees were thrown out of employment. Pay cuts, benefits earlier provided will not be provided, or some of the policies framed by businesses. MSME sector, a major contributor to the growth of our country, especially the GDP. But this lockdown made many MSME sectors to shut down their businesses as they could not survive. But efforts are taken by the government to recoup this sector by providing various relief measures. These factors, what everyone understand by the department staff, made the department to organize a webinar on the topic Business Dynamics 2020 and 2021. We, the department, strongly believe in that this webinar definitely will enlighten us with a clear picture of how the businesses have to restructure themselves to the new normal situation. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. Great things are done by a series of small things brought together. The Department of Corporate Secretaryship is pleased to announce the e-release of Annual Student Journal Focus 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic and the resultant lockdown has caused a massive economic disruption, leading businesses to make a rapid transition and take a new approach to business strategy. This has led the Department of Corporate Secretaryship to find how each sector and MSMEs have been affected under the three headings, namely finance, human resource, and marketing, and also what are the recommendations given by the various experts and governments during this pandemic situation. There was an overwhelming response from the students. The entire journal focus is done exclusively by the students, of the students, and for the students, which is the motto of our journal. May I now call upon Dr. Sumati, Associate Professor, to introduce Chartered Accountant Dr. Gopal Krishna Raju, who will deliver the keynote address on the topic 3 R's of Business Disruptions Post-COVID, Restore, Revive, and Restructure. Over to you, sir.
Respected dignitaries on the virtual dais, faculty members and students, a very good morning to one and all. It's my proud privilege to introduce academic celebrity CA Dr. Gopal Krishna Raju. He is popularly known as Dr. GKR. CA Dr. Gopal Krishna Raju is a practicing chartered accountant, registered insolvency professional, and a registered valuer. Gopal Krishna Raju is a tax consultant, assurance and restructuring partner of Mrs. K. Gopal Rao and Co. Chartered Accountants. GKR hails from a family of chartered accountants. His father, mother, younger brother, and wife all are practicing chartered accountants. GKR served consecutive 3 terms of 9 years from 2010 to 2019 as Southern India Regional Council member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. GKR has been recently awarded honorary doctorate in governance of GST in government sector by St. Mother Teresa University, Melbourne, Australia. GKR is in the Independent Directors Data Bank and has qualified with distinction the online proficiency self-assessment test conducted by the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs under the aegis of Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India. His other qualifications include Qualified Valuation Examination of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. He is an associate member of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. He is an associate member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. He has twin postgraduate diploma in Operation Research and in Financial Management from the Pondicherry University. He has an MPhil in Management from the Tamil Nadu University. He is a qualified information systems auditor and he holds 8 certificates from the National Stock Exchange. Dr. GKR has authored 2 books exclusively for CA students, Standard Costing and Variance Analysis and First Lessons in Information Technology. Dr. GKR is a seasoned speaker on information technology, finance and taxation, and he is a visiting faculty to numerous institutions, corporates and business schools. Dr. GKR is a member of the Institute of Directors, Bombay Chartered Accountant Society, Madras Management Association, and life member of the Society of Auditors, the Chartered Accountant Circle, and he is also an active Rotarian. Sir has several nominations to his credit. To name a few, Finance and Taxation Panel member of FICCI Tamil Nadu State Council, Chairman Valuation Standards, All India Institute of Valuers Foundation, and Dr. GKR is a member academic board, Department of Commerce, Loyola College, Vaishnav College, SDNB Vaishnav College, SIVET College, New College, and Guru Nanak College. He is a member of the Audit Advisory Board, Director General of Audit, Chennai. He is Executive Committee, Center for Entrepreneurial Development, Anna University, Chennai. He is an expert committee member on corporate allied laws, CSR, governance, and ethics of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce. He is also a steering committee member, Institute of Directors, Chennai. A passionate writer on technology and taxation in numerous journals and newspapers. Columnist in Tamil Daily, The Hindu Tamil, and weekly Tamil magazines, Nanayam Vigadan and Pudhiya Thalaimurai Kalvi. He regularly appears in TV channels, FM radios, including DD Podigai and many other channels. Dr. GKR's passion to impart knowledge is much appreciable. To the best of my knowledge, he's been delivering a webinar almost every day in several portals. As a versatile speaker, GKR has addressed more than 400 plus meetings on GST to various forums, including professional bodies, Chamber of Commerce, industry and trade associations in both English and Tamil. I am sure he is going to be a great source of inspiration to our students. I now request Dr. GKR sir to take over the session.
Good morning, madam, and good morning, friends. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Can you enable me to present the screen, please?
Yes, sir. So now you can present.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. A very good morning, folks. My special thanks to the entire team of Anna Adarsh College for Women, especially respected Principal Dr. R. Shanti, and Head of the Department of Corporate Secretaryship, Dr. P. Radhika, an Associate Professor of Department of Corporate Secretaryship, Dr. Leji Alayamma George, and my co-speaker and very senior practicing company secretary and guru for thousands of professionals, Dr. B. Ravi. My pranams to Dr. Ravi, and a host of co-speakers from various parts of the world. I must appreciate the entire team of Anna Adarsh for bringing together in one platform Dr. Harini Mitchell from New York, from City University of New York, Mr. Will Sheward from London, Srimati Varsha Kulkarni from Singapore, Srimati Banu Sounder from London, and close to 280 plus participants in online. So my morning wishes to each and every one of you. And today's topic, you have to actually tell me, madam, how many minutes I have to present the session. So I'll try to do it within that time. So can I go up to 15 minutes or 20 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Madam?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So I'll focus my attention to the next 20 minutes. So I request each and every one of you to be focused. And the message what I want to share, it's very, very important, especially on the theme 3 hours of business disruption. எனக்கு தமிழ்ல பேசுறது ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும். ஆக்சுவலி அழகா எல்லாரும் தமிழ்ல பேசிட்டு இருக்கீங்க. ஆனா அவர் டாக்டர் ரவி மாதிரி எனக்கு அந்த அளவுக்கு சுத்தமா தமிழ் பேச வராது. ஏன்னா நான் சென்னையிலேயே பிறந்து வளர்ந்தவன். ஸோ அதனால என்னோட தமிழ் கொஞ்சம் சென்னை தமிழா இருக்கும். ஆனா எனக்கு பிடிச்ச ஒரு பாட்டு இருக்கு, அந்த பாட்டுல இருந்து ஆரம்பிக்கிறேன். பட்டுக்கோட்டை கல்யாண சுந்தரனாரோட பாடல் வரிகள், எஸ்.எம். சுப்பையா நாயுடுவோட இசையமைப்புல டி.எம். சௌந்தரராஜன் பாடிய மக்கள் திலகம் எம்ஜிஆரோட ஒரு பாடல். அதுல 2 வரி தான் எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிச்சிருக்கு. இந்த COVID-19 related stress, how you have to resurrect your business. வறுமை நிலைக்கு பயந்து விடாதே, திறமை இருக்கு மறந்து விடாதே. அருமையான பாடல் வரிகள். And that particular line will be applicable for ages. And today it is applicable. Especially COVID, maybe one side people think it as a threat. அது ஒரு வைரஸ் என்ன பண்றது அப்படின்ட்டு. But it has taught us many lessons. Number 1, to respect nature. Number 2, to ensure cleanliness in and around us. Cleanliness, which we were following as Indians, we were following, but we have lost maybe in the past 20-30 years. மறந்துட்டோம். அதெல்லாம் ரிமைண்ட் பண்ணிட்டு போயிருக்கு COVID-19. In the process, disruption has happened. I repeat, in the process, disruption has happened, which is, I will consider it to be not a normal situation. It's an abnormal situation. But it is not that nothing is impossible. So with this background, let me take my session into the main part. I will actually focus the entire session on 3 terms: restoring, revival, and restructuring. This is the 3 words I'm going to speak about. But my first point I want to drive to all of you is survive. Ipo every day, every businessman, and I want to divide the entire business community into 2 segments. One is the large organizations. Large, very large organizations, those who do turnover beyond 250 crore, beyond 500 crore. Because above 250 crore is considered to be not an MSME at all. So therefore, those organizations, they are already well established. Of course, they also have challenges, but their network is far and wide, and they can actually withstand this particular disruption, and they can come unscathed. But with respect to the micro, small and medium enterprise, அவங்களுக்கு தான் ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். என்ன இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட் இருக்கும், loan இருக்கும், commitment இருக்கும், fixed cost இருக்கும், and orders இருக்கும், but receivables இருக்க வராது, payables இருக்கும், then how to survive? So the biggest challenge for them is increasing the turnover, increasing bottom line. இதெல்லாம் கிடையாது இப்போ. The first thing is survival. நம்ம ரத்தன் டாடாஜி சொல்லியிருக்கார். ரத்தன் டாடா என்ன சொல்லியிருக்கார்? இந்த வருஷத்துல 2020ல 2020ல if you survive, if you stick on to your business, you try to actually establish yourself in your business itself, profession, wherever you are, எங்க இருக்கீங்களோ அங்கே இருங்க, stick on, survive. That is the first step. Once you survive, that is the next thing. Okay, நாளைக்கு என்ன செய்யணும், இன்னைக்கு என்ன செய்யணும், அது முதல்ல ஸ்ட்ரீம்லைன் பண்ணுங்க அப்படின்னு. நான் பிசினஸ் பெருக்கிறேன், நான் வந்து இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ணணும், நான் வந்து என் டாப் லைன் இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ணணும், அதெல்லாம் அடுத்தது. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஸ்டெப் சர்வைவல். ஸோ நாளைக்கு சாப்பாட்டுக்கு என்ன பண்ணணும், அடுத்த நம்மளுடைய எம்ப்ளாயிஸ்க்கு எப்படி சேலரி கொடுக்கணும். And I'm telling you guys, it is not only for business, it is also equally applicable for charitable institutions, religious institution, education institution also. And I am addressing as part of an education institution, it's a very big challenge because huge properties have been constructed, but no classes. Especially for the past 4 or 5 months, there is no activity. So maintenance of such a big infrastructure is a big challenge. And today, I want to tell you guys, 1st February 2020 onwards, Madam Sitaraman has announced. What Madam Sitaraman has announced? There will be 100 institutions, education institutions, which will be approved by Ministry of the then Ministry HRD. Now it is Ministry of Education. Will be identified and they will be giving online full-time degree courses. So there is actually a digital wave that has actually happened, and this digital wave has not impacted only the higher education. It has also impacted the school education also. From school education, பசங்க எல்லாம் மாறிட்டாங்க and எல்லா விதமான பசங்களும் மாறிட்டாங்க. Teachers has a very big challenge, institution has a very big challenge, and the survival today is the most big question mark. And I'm going to actually address one by one with a limited time. Next to survival is revival. Okay, now meaning from a normal trend, the entire activity has come down. Maybe it has gone down to zero or even negative because cost is there but revenue is not there. So it has gone to negative. So the first thing is I have to survive. From negative I have to bring to zero. Then I have to revive, bring to the normal. Then only thrive. Then only I should, okay, I compare with 18-19, compare with 17-18. What is my next year turnover? That is the next thing. Thriving is last. Surviving and reviving is the next big name. Next big term we need to actually discuss. How we will have to do. So what let me tell, then how I'll tell next. And especially from New York as well as from Singapore, already the speakers have joined. So I will not take much of the time. I'll take another next 10 to 15 minutes only, not more than that. The first thing what I want to tell you is to survive. Yes, we are able to see even the things which has been happening because especially this COVID, if for example, if any one family member is infected, it has a psychological impact on the entire family. But I want to tell you guys that each and every one of us, we may be carrier of asymptomatic carriers. We may be, not necessarily we should be it should be visible carriers. We will be asymptomatic carriers. So it is only because of our the immunity level. And one message COVID-19 has made it very clear is if you are immune, you can survive. I repeat this word. If you are immune, you can survive. So what is required? Internally, inspiration. Inspiration. And yes, I can survive this. I can survive this pandemic. I can survive this business disruption. That confidence is first required. Maybe it is overconfidence or other things that will come, that we will see the next step. Practical point of view, what is the next step? But the first thing is internally we must be inspired first. Yes, I will come out of this. That's the first thing. And this is applicable for every business, every profession, including education institution, including students. Students, I must tell, especially we have 280 students across this medium. I must tell them, friends, all young friends, please ensure that the future is going to be very bright, very bright. And one biggest advantage, this technology has the plus as well as the minus. You know what is the minus? You don't have an interaction with the teachers, and teachers can't see you. Physically, they can't see you. So you can take it for a ride, but that is actually at your I will say, you are only going to miss the best part of the education. And one best part in digital education, you can get connected. Is it possible to meet Harini Mitchell, Dr. Harini, Srimati Varsha from Singapore, Srimati Banu Saundar from London? All of you know. But your Anna Adarsh was able to bring all of them together, and they are able to connect with you as though they are standing next to you. And that is the plus point. I repeat, that is the plus point of the digital evolution. You have to use this to the maximum, leverage it to the maximum. Second most important thing is innovation. If you have to revive innovation, this is applicable for all business, all profession. Today, running a hotel industry is very big challenge because of the protocols. Plate the stainless steel the tumbler the disposable you have to innovate. No other choice, because one plate pongal was only 30 rupees or 40 rupees. Today it is 80 rupees, double, only because of the protocol. And guys, innovation is the only thing that can bring down the cost, that can actually change the business. How you have to do the business with reaching the customers, manufacturing, reaching people. But think. So there is a very interesting what they I'm sorry for that. In the same song, Varumai Nilaikku Bayandu Vidade, Thiramai Irukku Marandu Vidade. So what is the meaning of that? So you have to use your Thiramai, you have to use your skills to innovate. No, my brother did this, my father did this, my uncle did this, my competitor did this, I will do the same thing, means Govinda. That is not going to help us. You have to innovate, come out with new things, and that ideas only can make you revive. If you have to revive, bring from zero to the normal. What you were 2018-19, what you were in 2016-17, if you have to come to that same, you need to innovate. First you need to survive, then only innovation is possible. For survival you need inspiration, then get up. Especially morning when you get up, you need an inspiration to actually stand up actually. Once you stand up, then you can walk, drink water, all the stuff you can do. So that inspiration first required, then innovation. Think what to do. Very important. Okay, thinking and all. It is not only thinking. That's what Abdul Kalam ji said. Okay, dream. First you have to innovate. Okay, dream what you want to become. Then is implementation. So now with this terminologies, I want to take you to a very, very important yes. So what our Pradhan Mantri made a point to all of you is that India should be Atmanirbhar. And that is the only solution for innovation and implementation. One is inspiration, that nobody can give it to you. You have to be self-inspired. That is why Anna Adarsh is bringing all of you together to get inspired by listening to all the interesting speakers. And the second thing is innovation. And that's what the message of our Pradhan Mantri, that we should not be dependent, because our country is rich not only in culture and heritage, but also in resources. I want to tell you one very interesting example. Just 3 examples I'll tell you. I think that 3 examples can give you some idea. I want you to look at this Ruma Roca. I don't know how many of you know about Ruma Roca. Ruma Roca is the founder and CEO. Please look at this. I think I don't want to take you to the LinkedIn part, but please look at this. Ruma Roca. She is the founder of the Noida Deaf Society. Okay, actually, she is neither deaf nor she doesn't have that. What do you say? She can speak well, she can hear well, but she had a dream. What is the dream? Like all of you will know about the Tare Zameen Par film. In Tare Zameen Par film, Amir Khan is a teacher. He will actually teach the specially abled children, specially abled. So they are not disabled. See, look at this English word. They are specially abled. That means they have some special skills. You need to only identify that and you need to teach them. Now today, teachers are lacking. Teachers, I don't say that, I will not say that teachers, they lack that skill. There is a dearth of teachers who can teach such kind of people. And you know what Ruma Roca did? She wanted to learn the sign language. And she went to that university, education institution, which will be teaching the deaf and dumb people. They said, you are disqualified. Ruma, you are disqualified. Why you are disqualified? You know, you can hear well, you can speak well, so you are disqualified. Oh my God. So, Father, I cannot go and repair my ears and voice, and I cannot be disabled. So she, after giving a lot of pressure, they agreed. They said, okay, right, we will teach you the sign language. You know, after qualifying sign language, what they did? She designed a curriculum. PowerPoint presentation, notes, that, this, ityadi. She trained teachers to teach the specially abled children, specially abled people. And today she has trained 3,000 people across the country. And she was recognized as a, I will say, an amazing Indian award. She was given the amazing Indian, under the hands of our Prime Minister. On July 14th, she has got this award, amazing Indian award. For what? For designing the curriculum. Innovation in education. I can give you a lot of examples like this. And that only can make up. And today, the employers are standing in queue to Ruma Roca. Please send some of the deaf and dumb skilled employees. Because skilled employees who are dumb, they want them to be employed because they can't speak. So they can agitate. They can actually go on strike. So that I'm giving on the other side of it. But point to be noted, innovation only made her to actually reach far and wide. Okay, good. Now, in Atmanirbhar, I want to just share with you a few more points, and after that, I'll leave the floor open to all of you. Maybe if you have any questions, I'll answer. Look at this. I said innovation is one thing. Now, implementation. So, one is be inspired to survive. Second is innovate. Only when you innovate, you can revive. Where you are, what you want to do. And try to actually innovate in everything. Not only in a profession, but also in industry, product, service, whichever it is. Think, brainstorm, and then come out with ideas. And that's what Atmanirbhar is all about. And that's what the Ministry of Skill Development, first time they have brought this 50-second ministry. I must tell you guys, please look at this. This is a 50-second ministry, Ministry of Skill Development. Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship is a new ministry. For your kind information, it was set up on 9th of November 2014. It's a 6-year-old ministry. Maybe not 6 year more, only 5-year-old ministry. It's a new ministry. Why? Because That is only one reason. This ministry has been brought out because I must tell you guys, it's unfortunate. An unfortunate and National Educational Policy 2020 addresses this. What is it? The education must be skill oriented, not certificate oriented, not marks oriented. My dear young friends, please remember, if you need to survive and revive and thrive, the only solution is innovate. Only solution is develop skills. Education, learn every day, learn new things. So whoever speaks or wherever things are new, read newspapers, see and interact with the highly knowledgeable people, learn from their experience and try to find out where and all the opportunities are there. Nobody will come and give in a platter. And please look at everybody's, those who are successful in life, those who are successful. What Mahendra Singh Dhoni says, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, MS Dhoni, he says, don't focus on result. Don't focus on the pay package. Don't focus on the salary package. Focus on the process. You mean to say Mahendra Singh Dhoni was able to make the helicopter sixer just like that? No. If he has to make the helicopter sixer, how much of practice, how many years of efforts to bring that particular swing? Only one swing, sixer. But that one swing requires how many years of practice? What Jackie Chan said? Jackie Chan said, I don't fear those who know 1,000 kicks. I don't fear them. He can kick me in 1,000 times. No, but I fear that person who has learned one kick 1,000 times. I repeat again, I don't fear those who learn the 1,000 kicks, but only fear that particular person who has practiced only one kick 1,000 times because he is an expert in it. And that is what can make you to revive. Innovation and thriving is automatic. Please look at this. I will say for implementation. I need money. Government helps you guys. Government helps you if you have the intention. I want to make these 2 points very clear. Necessity. There is a necessity. If money is required, government is there to handhold you. Government is there. Genuineness. And the genuineness in your past. Necessity for your future. For example, those who are already in MSME, who already have a loan, they will be given an additional 20% loan. Please look at this. Additional 20%, no collateral. And I want to tell you this. Those companies, private limited and public limited, micro, small and medium enterprises companies who are already stressed, they couldn't pay. They are NPAs. For them, money will be given to revive. You must be innovative. No, I will only borrow money from the bank. Nonsense. I want only money. Nonsense. What are you going to do with money? Necessity. What are you going to do with? Everybody is competitive today. And you need to come out with a good idea, saleable idea, marketable idea. That only can make you what you call as profitable, successful person. And that even, I must appreciate guys, one thing. Funding a non-performing asset is the greatest challenge. And I'm sure Dr. Ravi also will agree with me. And also Dr. Harini and other speakers will agree with me that funding of NPAs, nowhere it has happened. But in this pandemic, in this COVID-19 pandemic, Government of India has identified, don't worry, even if you are an NPA, we'll fund you. That means you have to come out with innovation that, yes, I can do this. My only impediment is money. You have to prove it. That is what is called genuineness and the necessity. So today, people only say, I need money to pay this, I have expenses. What do you want to do with that? Why don't people think in that angle? Why? What is the productivity you will bring? What is the benefit you will reach to people? That has to be brought out, and that only will revive the economy. Not only revive your business, but also revive the entire economy, entire people around. And look at this, how this NPAs will be, stressed MSMEs will be revived. You know, the funding will be given to the promoters. Tremotas will be given a subordinate debt. What is subordinate? It will be there in the textbook. I don't have time and I don't want to take all the speakers' time here. But subordinate debt will be given, and which will actually have the last priority. But through that, they can infuse equity into the company and they can revive the private limited or public limited company. Not only this, guys, please look at this. Those who have an idea, saleable idea, marketable idea, youngsters who come out of college with ideas, don't worry. Form a private limited company and bring in what you call as a marginal capital. 4 times of that will be funded by Government of India using equity infusion. That will be done through venture capital funding. It is possible. And today already it has been implemented. 50,000 crore is already there. And what they need is only innovation. And you must be inspired and have an idea, not a copied idea. Original idea, which can actually, and remember guys, only youngsters can make this change. Only youngsters can bring this change. And I want to tell you, it is not only Atmanirbhar, it is also parallelly, the Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India has also come out with the 6th August 2020, lot of schemes, lot of restructuring of advances and discipline with respect to opening current account and resolution framework for stress-related accounts. All this. I need actually another half an hour or 1 hour to actually explain this. All this. Personal loan can be restructured. All these are possible. But one message from all this is that the 3 R's. What is the 3 R, guys? That is restore, revival, and restructuring is possible. So, and it is only possible by only 3. Inspiration, first to survive. Then innovation for revival and implementation for thriving. So guys, with this, I must thank each and every one of you for being very, very patient, and my special thanks to Anna Adarsh team, especially Madam Dr. R. Shanti, Principal, Dr. Radhika, Head Department of Corporate Secretaryship, and the entire team for giving this wonderful opportunity to me to share my thoughts on the 3 R's of revival post-COVID related stress. So thank you very much. Let me hand over the session back to the organizers. And if at all there are any questions, I'll be happy to take maybe 1 or 2. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for that rich keynote address. Due to some technical glitches, we were not able to telecast the e-release of our journal. So I request you all to view the e-release of the journal now. This journal is an exclusive journal which is prepared by the students, of the students, and it is for the students.
Madam, the journal has come very well. I appreciate the entire team of Focus 2020 for bringing out an annual journal with almost 56 articles culled out from various angles and inspiring the readers, especially in this post-COVID-19 related era. So my best wishes to the entire team and my congratulations to all the authors who have contributed to this annual journal. So best of luck.
Thank you so much, sir. Over to you, Subhi.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. May I request Dr. G. Varalakshmi, Assistant Professor, to introduce Dr. Harini Mittal, Assistant Professor at City University of New York, USA, to enlighten on the topic Radical Changes in Business Dynamics. Over to you, Vara, ma'am.
Happy morning to one and all present here. Excellence is never an accident. It is the result of high intention, sincere effort, intelligent direction, skillful execution, and the vision to see the obstacles as opportunities. These lines of Aristotle will aptly fit this eminent person, an alumni of our college, who is relishing the fruits of success in the midst of many foreigners in US today, which has been possible only by consistent hard work and dedication in all her endeavors. This distinguished personality is none other than our chief guest, Dr. Harini Mittal, Assistant Professor, City University of New York, USA. Dr. Harini Mittal has been actively involved in various activities, initiatives, teaching, and research in the field of innovation and entrepreneurship. She has a proven track record in strategic planning, execution, formation of alliances, and partnership. She has authored, co-authored books and has published a number of peer-reviewed papers in journals, made conference presentations at international conferences, written case studies and technical notes. She has also supervised PhD and MBA theses at CEPT University, Ahmedabad, Gujarat, where she was an associate professor and head Department of Technology Management for 5 years before joining University of Texas at Dallas as assistant professor. She received her PhD in management from the Institute of Management, Nirma University, Ahmedabad, for which she worked on the impact of mergers and acquisitions on the performance of a firm. She received an MBA in finance from the BK School of Business Management, Gujarat University, and a BA in corporate secretaryship from Anna Adarsh College, University of Madras, Chennai. Currently, she is an assistant professor at City University of New York, where she introduced several firsts such as entrepreneurship course and club, Boomerang Finance Lab, to name a few. She has also authored numerous open educational videos in the area of introductory finance for undergraduate students. Dr. Harini, it's both an honor and privilege to be able to introduce you and welcome you to this mega event of our department today. We look forward to listen to you. Over to you, Dr. Harini. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Varalakshmi. That was a wonderful introduction, and I feel delighted and honored to be here today. I'm back at my alma mater after 30 years, albeit virtually, but it's a pleasure, honor, and joyous moment in my life. And I thank Varalakshmi and my teachers, Professor Radhika, Professor Leji ma'am. I see all of you here. It's wonderful and it's heartening to see all of you. And the occasion of introduction or release of the annual journal is, I mean, as an ex-student, as an alumnus, to be here during the occasion of release of a student journal is the best thing that can happen to me. And thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. And thank you for that wonderful introduction. You made me feel like somebody very special. Thanks a lot. Okay, so on to my presentation. So today I've been asked to talk on the topic radical changes in business dynamics, and I have 15 minutes to go, so I'm not going to talk about other things, and I'm straight away going to delve into the topic. So I hope you all can see my screen. So So the topic is, can you all see my screen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yeah. All right. So the topic that's been given to me today is radical changes in business dynamics, which happens to be the topic of the journal, as I can see. And when I first received this topic, I thought, okay, now this topic has two high-sounding words. So let me first clarify what these two words are. And so I decided to start with the definition of these two words from Oxford Language. What is radical? Radical relates to or affects the fundamental nature of something. That means it relates to a change that's far-reaching and thorough. And what is dynamics? Dynamics are the forces or properties which stimulate growth, development, or change within a system or process. So, for example, dynamics of changing relations. So, if we put this into these two words into the topic, radical changes in business dynamics, what does it really mean? It means fundamental and far-reaching changes in the basic properties or characteristics of business. So that's what we're going to look at today. Quickly in these 15 minutes, what are the fundamental and far-reaching changes that we are seeing today that is going to alter the basic properties of basic characteristics of business as we see them today. Okay. So I'm going to break this into two parts. First, I'm going to look at what are those fundamental far-reaching changes in today's world. And then I'm going to look at the impact on on the business world and how the characteristics of the business world or the dynamics of the business world is being impacted. So first, what are the radical changes that we see today, and what are the radical changes that we forecast in post-COVID times? Because that is the I suppose this journal has been introduced with this topic because I think it's very topical. We're living in a turbulent time, and the world as we knew it has changed. It's not what we knew, and we also don't know what it's going to be like, right? So what are the changes that we see and we forecast? So first of all, the changes that we see is that the global GDP, the growth rate, the GDP growth rate is just sliding down, and at the end of 2020, it's projected to be 4.9%. Which is 1.9% below what it was. Okay, so this is a projection that came out in June 2020 given by International Monetary Fund. So if you see this, these projections, you see the world output in 2019 was there was an increase in 2.9% in 2019 in the real GDP of the world. Now, that increase is going to become a decrease at the end of 2020, no surprises, and it is going to reduce by 4.9% all over the world. And the biggest impact is going to be felt by the advanced economies, and the impact is going to be something like 8%. And in the emerging economies, it's going to be like somewhere around 3%. And if we see India, it's going to be 4.5%. It's going to come down by 4.5% in the whole of 2020. But China is, only going to see an increase of 1%. That's the only country I see in this chart which is not facing a negative GDP growth rate because they came out of the lockdown in the month of April much earlier than all of us all over the world, and they also had the experience of dealing with these pandemics earlier. Like they had the onslaught of swine flu and so many other pandemics, and they already knew what to do. And so they were ready and prepared, and it was not very difficult for them to take care of this. And therefore, you can see that their GDP was not as affected by this as compared to the other countries. So the biggest change is the GDP. Now, why is that? Because we are seeing a consumption decline. People are not going out and spending, obviously, earlier because of the lockdown, and now because of the social distancing and restrictions, and the fear of which is real, the fear of getting the infection. So there is a consumption decline, and therefore there is an aggregate demand shock, and all this has also impacted the supply of various goods and services due to the lockdown. And we're also seeing that the mobility of people, goods, services, everything has been totally disrupted, and it continues to remain depressed. And all this has an impact on the labor market. And the labor market, if you see, has been severely hit. And by the second quarter, IMF has predicted a decline of 300 million jobs, right? So all over the world. And that's a lot of unemployment. And I'm going to talk more about the impact on labor market in the next slide. So I'll come back to that topic in a few minutes. And the next change that we're seeing is the global trade has contracted. So now, like there is a weak demand, people are not consuming, the consumption has come down, therefore the demand has come down. And because of the lockdown, everything, all the manufacturing, everything was closed down, right? There was a lockdown, everything was closed down. So supply was impacted by that. That was amplified by the trade restrictions between United States and China. As you all know, they're in a trade war back and forth. And so the supply is totally there, it's affected there. And of course, the cross-border tourism, nobody wants to travel, and there are travel restrictions and people don't want to travel. So therefore, cross-border tourism has been impacted, and all this has resulted in contraction in the global trade. So we see some economic changes such as decline in GDP, decline in consumption, and supply and demand, and mobility and trade and unemployment and everything. So and then another economic impact that we see is inflation. So there is weaker inflation. Now, in the advanced economies, it's again, the inflation has come down to 0.4% from 1.3%. And whereas in emerging economies, it has come down to 4.2%. Now, it's pretty obvious why, because when the demand goes down and the fuel prices are also going down, right, this is bound to happen. And one would think, okay, there is a cost push pressure, because now that the supply has been interrupted, and therefore the cost of acquiring things would go up, right? So you would think that is going to offset the reduction in the prices because of lower fuel prices and fall in demand. But the lower fuel prices and fall in demand more than offset the cost push pressure, So we are seeing weaker inflation everywhere. So we're just seeing there is a lot of economical repercussions because of COVID. And, and there are economic, social, political, and technological changes that are happening around us. But I'm going to stick to the economical and the business environment because of paucity of time. So now that is that is in brief some of the changes that we are seeing, right? Now, how are these changes impacting the business dynamics, and how are we going to cope? I mean, how are we going to cope with these? And I suppose that the speakers who will be following me will talk more about the coping strategies, but I'm just going to say how these changes are impacting and will impact the business dynamics. So to begin with, automation and digitization has been happening, and it has been happening pre-COVID. That has only increased because of COVID. Now, we're going to see in manufacturing sector, I see that the next speaker is going to talk about that. In the manufacturing sector, we're going to see that, there are going to be a lot of robots, there's going to be a lot of automation, and in all other fields, including, for example, today, this is all happening online. The webinar is happening online. The launch of the journal is happening online. Teaching is happening online. Everything is happening online. So the whole world is running towards automation and digitization at a faster pace than what was anticipated earlier. We were walking towards it, but now we're running and flying towards it. And the supply chains, as you can see, the global trade has contracted, and now because of all the travel restrictions and so many other problems, right? Imports are going to be, people are going to prefer buying locally, regionally, and even the big retail chains are going to like to get their supplies locally and regionally. And therefore, the supply chains are going to be shorter and they're going to be regional. And what we are seeing, and we're going to see in an extended period of time, is that because of automation, jobs like in the retail sector, when especially in the United States, you will see a lot of these big retail chains going bankrupt because people are not going to the shops anymore. They're not going to those malls anymore. One, because of lockdown, post-lockdown, people don't want to go to a crowded place. They just don't want to go outside. So, then the restaurants, the retail sector, the restaurants, all these are really, the businesses are really crumbling there. So those are the places where, people who have been working, they're going to be, they've already been displaced, and it's just going to be more. So the lower income people who are not working with machines, who are working with their hands, and people who are actually interacting with one another, those are the people who are going to lose their jobs. And unfortunately, women happen to be a major chunk of that population. So women are all going to be losing their jobs, and that's a major fallout of all this. And another problem is that the low-income groups, on one hand, they're losing their jobs, on the other hand, they have this COVID infecting them, and they're not able to, healthcare coverage is a problem for them, and they don't have enough savings to take care of that. So they also have to worry about that. And another trend that we are seeing is we're all working remotely. We're all working from home, and there are some places where the lockdown has been lifted and people have started going back to workplace, but there are a lot of safety measures, and the safety measures are only going to increase. And what are we seeing? We're seeing flexible work schedules, and we're seeing staggering. People go on alternate days so that the workplace is not crowded, and so all these things are happening. And many of us may not be very adept at using technology, and now that everything is technology enabled, and it's only going to get even more in the future, job retraining, job reskilling is happening in a big way. And it's only going to increase. and the type of jobs are going to change. I'm not saying there are going to be no jobs. I'm not saying that the machines are going to replace human beings. I'm just saying machines will be enabled by human beings, and therefore human beings will have to retrain themselves to work with the machines and with technology and all these tools. So McKinsey and so many other so many other of these consulting and research organizations, they have been trying to forecast what the future of work is going to be like, right, given all these changes. So McKinsey it talked to hundreds of executives across several industries, and it just published its report on September 10th, 2020. And I'm just going to give you a quick glimpse of their findings in the next chart. This is a chart that they presented in their report. And what is this chart? They talked to all these top executives, and they asked them what they foresee in their organizations. What kind of changes they foresee in their organizations, and what kind of changes are already underway. Okay, so this is across all. They did it for so many industries, but I'm just going to show you the total picture. This is across all industries. This is like summarizing all industries. So you can see that 80% of the respondents, 80% of the top executives felt that the structure of meeting and the cadence, the characteristic of the meetings will change, which is obvious. We're all meeting virtually today. You see, we're all in different parts of the world, and we're all meeting virtually. So 80% are saying that's what is happening, and that's going to continue. And they're also saying that the way the leaders are going to lead is going to change, because now they're dealing with a totally different world. So they have to, their leadership is crucial at this point in time. They have to be more empathetic, and sometimes they have to be very firm in doing certain things. And so 78% of them feel that leadership is the next thing that's going to change, or that's already changing. And use of technology and systems. So 76% of the executives felt that use of technology and systems is going to be the norm, and the way companies function, the core processes are going to change. For example, how do we teach? The process of teaching has completely changed. We're teaching online, right? How do we order food? Now we do takeout. We don't want to go to restaurants. How do we order groceries? We order them online. So the core process of doing things has changed, right? And so therefore, the approach towards talent and the skill sets that is required is going to change, because now they're going to look at people with skills, tech skills. They're saying, data science, data analytics, and the hottest field now is artificial intelligence, right? So AI, machine learning, and data science, and data engineering, and these are the kind of skills that are going to be used more and more. So so on and so forth. And my previous speaker was talking about innovation. The approach to innovation has to change. It has to be different from what we did, and what we envisioned in the past. The way we are going to innovate is going to differ. And you will see that, at the things like purpose, the corporate purpose, the mission, the objective, and what is the product portfolio, and all those things, which we used to talk about. And we used to say that is the most important thing, when we talk about the strategy class, the first thing we would say is, look at the mission of the organization. And from the mission, you look at the environment, and from the environment derive the mission and vision and objective, and so on and so forth. And you see 12% of the people are saying purpose of the organization, or partnerships or product portfolio or service portfolio. I mean, these things have become less important. What's become more important are totally, they're the way, the process of doing business or doing things. So these are the changes that are going to happen, and it's already happening. And I'm sure my other speakers are going to throw more light on these aspects. And if you have, so that's what I have for this particular. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them. Yeah, any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So,
Thank you, ma'am, for yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
Thank you, ma'am, for such an informative session. I now call upon Dr. A. Uma Mageshwari, Assistant Professor, to introduce Ms. Varsha Kulkarni, Operations Improvement Engineer, Micron, Singapore, to throw some insights about working virtually in manufacturing industry. Over to you, Dr. A. Uma.
Good morning to one and all. It's my proud privilege to introduce Ms. Varsha Kulkarni. Ms. Kulkarni has completed her Bachelor's of Engineering in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from Sri Jaya Chamarajendra College of Engineering in the year 2013. She went on to complete her Master's of Sciences in Electrical Engineering from the prestigious National University of Singapore in the year 2015. She has put on more than 5 years of work experience in Micron Technology Singapore, initially as manufacturing system engineer and later was elevated to operations improvement engineer. She is an experienced operations improvement engineer specializing in dispatch, scheduling, and automation solutions. In her line of work, she has accumulated a good knowledge of process flow of the production line and manufacturing systems involved to support operations. She is personally very intrigued with the Industry 4.0 and tries to take the approach in the solutions she designs to support back-end production. She is extremely organized, confident, calm, and driven person who believes in enriching her workspace to adapt to the latest technological trends. Talent wins games, but teamwork wins championship is her mantra. She believes to grow by learning from people around her, and biggest of feats are achieved by collaborations. We are indeed very proud and happy to have you here amongst us today. You are an inspiration to our students' community. I welcome you to take over the session, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Dr. Uma, and thank you to all the professors from the university to give me this opportunity to share a little bit of my life with you guys. Also, I look forward to hearing back from the students in case they do have any questions. Can I share my screen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. You can go ahead.
To grant permission. I don't seem to have any permission. Can you guys give me permission?
No, ma'am. Right side corner down, you can see present now option. You can just present your screen.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not able to. Google Chrome might not have permission to use screen recording. Please give me a second.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Or if I can send you my slides, can you show it?
We will try to
Yes,
make
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, it is in PDF, ma'am. I'll play it slide by one.
Okay. So sorry about that.
No issues.
Oh, wait, I think I am presenting.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
No, ma'am. You can present now, ma'am.
Are you able to see my
Yes,
screen?
ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
Okay, so I wanted to share with you today about working virtually in manufacturing. In Singapore over here, Singapore government reacted very fast, and then we had to start working virtually from January of this year. So it's almost 10 years, 10 months of working from home for me. But some of our workforce is working on site, and I would like to share with you on how we've been managing it. So the agenda for today would be to go through a few of these items. I am just maybe 5 or 7 years older to all the students in your university, so maybe the students can relate to me much closer. So trying to come up with points so that they can relate to me and try to understand how to approach a corporate job or the any future job that they will be going into. So just a brief update about myself. Thank you to Dr. Uma. She's already told much about me. So I've studied my bachelor's in Mysore, my master's in Singapore. I've been working for 5 years in manufacturing. All my experience has been in manufacturing. I was born in India, brought up in Indonesia, and now I live in Singapore. So I have special connection to 3 countries, all seem home right now. And in case any of the professors or students would like to contact me, my contact information is here. You're most welcome to drop me an email anytime to have a chat or ask me for anything. Okay, so coming to, I'm going to specifically be speaking about manufacturing, but this can be applied to any industry out there. So starting from 2020, we had to adapt really fast. So we had to bring in our technologies that we have, and then we had to work around the people that we have, and then the problems that we're going to face. So the major connect will be between the technology and people and culture. So the people are at the end of the day that are going to run the business. Anybody from leadership to down to the operators and technicians who literally run a line 24/7. So, and then these people who have no holidays, who are working 12 hours a shift, they're working on site, they're working on the machines, on our products without complaining. So we have to make sure that we keep our operators and technicians safe. So to avoid a lot of interaction between people, the non-essential people, like we are considered non-essential because our job is majorly on laptops. We don't have to be on the line. So all the non-essential people are supposed to stay home to keep our essential workers safe. So they need to feel safe when they're working in manufacturing. They need to be able to concentrate on their job, not have a lot of interaction with other human beings, so they don't have the risk of catching the virus. So the most important thing that was decided in January was to keep our operators and technicians safe. So that is where people and culture come. We have to work from an area where our culture is keeping each other safe, keeping each other happy, keeping each other's mental health happy to be able to run the business. This will in turn inspire transparency. So even if I'm staying at home, if I see something happening which is problematic, which can lead to a problem, I should not be shy to deliver bad news to my bosses. So that transparency is very, very important. Whenever you see a problem coming up, you should immediately escalate to your bosses, keep everybody responsible in the loop, have the proper information. So this transparency is very important in our COVID era and then moving forward, because we are not sitting beside each other. We cannot just walk up and talk to your colleague and say, hey, I think this is a problem. So we need to learn how to communicate bad news. More than good news, we need to learn how to communicate bad news. Communicating bad news will then enable a stable manufacturing environment. So this is the main cycle that we're working with. This cycle, I'm pretty sure, is same to most of the businesses out there and can be applied to basic corporate structure, small businesses and big businesses. Okay, so to start with, how to be a good professional. So these are some tips that I have learned working in a Southeast Asian culture from the past 5 years. And this is based on my experience in the 5 years that I have worked. So the first thing is you need to know the basics of your job. Anything that you're working in, you cannot do your job properly if you do not know the basics. So you need to be learning it, learning every aspect of it, and you need to live by it, and in fact teach your juniors who come the same fundamentals. This is the basic foundation that you're supposed to have. It's very, very important. Next comes humility. You have to be willing to learn from anyone and everyone you can. The best piece of advice that I got when I joined manufacturing was to learn from the operator. The operator is working on the line, on the production floor. He or she will know the best practices that are needed for manufacturing. And this advice was in fact given to me by my boss. And so he's like, don't look to me to learn as much as you can. Look to an operator, be friends with them. So there's no hierarchy that should come into picture. You need to be able to learn from anyone. And as the years go by and then you gain experience, you need to be forthcoming to teach your juniors. You should not hold back saying, he might take my job or she might take my job or why should I teach? That should not be the mentality. You should be able to teach what you have learned and impart your experience. Okay, and then every corporate has hierarchy. That is inevitable. You're going to have a boss, you're going to have a boss's boss, you're going to have a boss's boss's boss. But in your practice, in your everyday work, you should not let this to get to you. So you should not practice any hierarchy. You should learn to respect the person, not the role. So for example, if your director tells you something to do something, it's not reasonable, you are the engineering expert. You should be able to have the guts to say, I don't think this is right. So you're not supposed to go by saying a yes ma'am or a yes sir attitude. You're supposed to give your honest feedback. Also the same, if your junior comes up with a much better solution, you should accept the solution and say, let's go work for it. Last one, quality over quantity. This is some form of a tussle between our older generation and us. The older generation views that working till 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. shows that you're working. But that's not always the case. It should always be about the quality over quantity. The 8 hours given to you, you're being paid for 8 hours. You need to give your all in that 8 hours. That's supposed to be how much you're supposed to deliver in a day. If you need 10 hours, that means you're not doing something right. So it's always about the productivity, not about the time that you're spending on a particular job. Okay. And 2020, as usual, came and disrupted all our lives. We didn't expect this to happen. Suddenly, we are supposed to be working on Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, and then Skype. So this takes a little bit of getting adjusted to. And because this generation right now is still in university, you guys have a good time to start on your skills and working on virtual meetings. So maybe read up a few articles, try to have mock meetings with your classmates and your batchmates, try to figure out how to hold meetings or how to hold sessions or how to share your information among people that you're supposed to work with. So this is a skill that is going to be new. We had to learn it on the job, but the one good advantage for the students right now is you can come prepared to your job with this skill. And particularly for meetings, you cannot see the person on the other side. So you can't gauge their emotion. You can't see how they're reacting to it, whether they're happy with what you're saying, whether they're acceptable with what you're saying, or they don't. So you need to learn to talk in precise language. Like you have to get across your point exactly how you intend to mean it. Sometimes this is tough. It can be a language barrier. It can be that you're not strong in English or the other person on the other side. English. So this is another challenge that you will have to work with, and then you will have to be okay to switch to another language. It is okay to not talk in English. So, speaking specifically for India, say you're working in Bangalore, and most of them are either Kannada or Tamil speakers. So it's okay to switch to a language which everybody understands. It doesn't always English. And about the last thing I would like to say is lend a hand. So basically, I'm 30 years old this year. I'm okay with technology, but my boss was 30 years old. He or she doesn't know how to use Zoom. He or she doesn't know how to use Microsoft Teams. Don't embarrass them. Try to go offline. Try to tell them, hey, if you need help, let me know. I'll help you set up your account. I'll help you, give you tips on how you can be in meetings. Basically, try to check on people who are not comfortable. Try to check on them. Try to ask them if they need any help. Works with your older boss as well as to your younger peers. Offer your help, offer sympathy basically, because that's how we're going to get through the pandemic and working virtually. The other thing is communicate and connect. Everybody's time is important, and then most of us spend at least 15 minutes trying to set up our meetings. Can you hear me? Can you see my screen? Is everybody's mic working? That's 15 minutes of every meeting. That's just how it's going to be. So the actual agenda of the meeting, you need to keep it short. You need to keep it straight to the point. Do not give any backstory. Do not give any other additional information unless asked for, and try to keep it short. The other thing is take an emotional pulse of the room, see if try to call their name out and ask them, do you have something to say? Like, don't just end the meeting if they say, do you have any questions? And then nobody speaks up anything. Maybe somebody is not understanding something. Maybe somebody doesn't have a complete picture. Try to take their names, try to involve them in the meeting, try to involve them for their opinion and for their expert advice. They are a senior engineer or a principal engineer for a reason. They have 10 or 15 years experience. You need their input as a 5-year engineer. So always call out your senior engineer or senior director, ask for their opinion. Last one would be be authentic, create a psychological safety. Make the virtual meeting room a safe space so that everybody is comfortable to speak up. So this one example could be avoid political discussions. The world is very, very divided right now. Every country seems to have two different political sides. So, and one person might not be comfortable discussing it. So avoid political discussions in your professional meetings. Avoid family discussions in professional meetings. Sometimes they don't want to share how their family is doing or what they did on the weekend. They don't want to share the personal aspect of it. Try to avoid that. So the last one would be respect every person, irrespective of their gender, their race, their personality, their socioeconomic, their any sort of preferences that they can. Do not let that be a factor in promoting a person in their job or appreciating a person in their job. Like for example, you don't not promote a person because that person is already very rich. Oh, he doesn't need the promotion or she doesn't need the promotion. It doesn't work that way. In case they are capable for the job and they've done a good job, and if promoting them is your responsibility, promote them. It's not about whether they need it or not. It's also whether they deserve it or not. Okay, so because all the students or most of the students seem to be girls, I would like to talk a little bit of women in the workforce, because manufacturing especially, and there are several industries out there where it's a male-dominated industry. And then especially in the leadership, if you see, in the leadership, you almost see that CEO, the COO, they all happen to be men. But why is it that we don't see women out there? Especially when we start out, fresh engineers, it's always like 20 men and 20 women. Where do these women go, right? So you as a woman in an industry, you will also have to bring your heart and your head. So when you're working with your colleagues, when you're new with your colleagues, you see another fellow woman engineer or professional having a problem, speak out, ask them, what do you need? Most of us women have a household to look after behind our back. So not only do we have to come to work, be a professional, do our engineering job, but go back, cook, clean, also educate children, and a lot of household chores. So there was an article published a few weeks back where the unpaid work of women is equal to $30 million in 2019 alone. That is, if you had to pay for every cooking, cleaning, and all this educating children, everything, if the women had to be paid for these jobs, in 2019 alone, that cost was $30 million. So that means that all this is being done as an extra workload for women or by women. So you know your worth, know what you're doing. Being a housewife is a full-time job. You need to know that this is a full-time job and approach your family discussions in the same way. If you have these discussions back at family, you're going to be able to be a very good engineer or professional at work. The other thing is, as women, we're taught to hate each other. We're taught to not appreciate each other as women. So the main problem that women in leadership face is that they don't get the support of people underneath them. It doesn't have to be men. Even the women don't support them. And this concept is called the leaky pipeline. So that this is where it happens is when 20 male engineers and 20 female engineers join together, it's highly likely that 18 of these 20 women drop out when they become new mothers, when they have 2 kids, when they have a house, and they find it that they cannot manage their professional life and their home life together. And because of this pressure, they drop out, or they don't accept a role of higher responsibility. They are happy where they are. They're like, I'll just keep working as a junior engineer. I don't want more responsibilities because I have to take care of my family. So that is why this is the greatest single obstacle preventing talented and qualified women from obtaining top positions. So in case you want the people and culture of the organization to change, to respect more diversity, respect more women in the leadership, we women who in the workforce, we have to learn to support each other. And the main 2 places where women drop out is when they're becoming a new mother or when they're going through a menopause. There are scientific journals to support this fact. So in case you have a colleague who's pregnant or becoming a new mother, reach out, ask them, hey, do you need me to cover up something? Do you want me to help you with your work? Take on that extra load, lend a hand, help them out. So is with your older colleague who's going through menopause. Hey, if you're not feeling right, just let me know. I'll do some work for you. Share a load. It won't go unappreciated, and you will get similar support when you are in that position. So this is the way that it's not about having to go to leadership, it's having to keep women in the workforce in the first place. We need to maintain the numbers, and this is how your workforce or your professional setup will strive. And then be okay with your limitations. Sometimes you don't have to prove a point to everybody. You don't have to be the next Indra Nooyi or the next top women leader. It doesn't have to be. That shouldn't be the end goal. Be okay with your limitations. You have some parameters that you have to work around. Go around, work according to it. Don't push yourself too hard. Know when to stop. Also, open your own doors. Don't expect for other people to help you out. It's good if you get help, but if they don't, then you learn to go by yourself. Another thing is educate and communicate. No other person will understand your situation best but you. Only you will know what you're going through. So don't always expect that your father or your brother or your husband will understand that's what's going on in your head. You need to speak out and say, hey, I need help. Can you take care of this? Can you take care of the bills today? Can you take care of cleaning the kitchen today? Most of them just need to have that conversation. You will get the help on the other side. This is 2020. We're talking about men are modern, men are helpful. All you need is to have that conversation. Don't turn it into a fight. Don't turn it into an agenda saying that, hey, I'm working in office and come on, you're supposed to do this as well. Try to make it an education. Try to communicate. That is the key. So to end this talk, I hope I could have been much of help to you. But then I would like to give you 2 role models that you can work with. Both the ladies on the slide are from finance background, and then they are the chief operating officers for 2 major US corporations today. We already know a few of the Indian leaders to look up to, but these 2 are my personal role models. One is Gwen Shotwell. She's the chief operating officer for SpaceX. SpaceX is going to be one of the few corporations in the future that are going to be helping us living through troubles that we have faced after 2020, both by researching for scientific explorations outside space and maybe even resettling in another planet. The other one is Sheryl Sandberg. She's the chief operating officer for Facebook. Facebook might just seem like a social media or simple software or an app on your phone, but in the background, they control a lot of data, and then they can change how markets work, how corporates need to work, how the trend needs to happen. So both of these 2 women are 2 powerful women in powerful positions from your specialty of finance and corporate. So it would be helpful if you read up about them, read up on how they work, read up of how they are in their professional life and how they reached in that position. And then I hope introducing these 2 women to you would help you understand work life better. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much. Please feel free to reach out even to the students in case you want to know better on how to approach hiring on how to approach interviews or how to approach a new professional setup when you're a fresh hire in a corporate, just reach out to me. We can have a chat. We can even have a call anytime. Yep. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to all the professors, especially to Dr. Sumati for introducing me to the university and all the professors. I really appreciated that you had this time to share a little bit about my life.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Asha.
ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for an inspiring speech. I'm sure that my students will make use of the tips that you have given that really give a helping hand whenever the elders are in trouble. Thank you so much, ma'am. I now request Dr. Leji Eliama George, Associate Professor, to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Will Schwartz, Vice President, Marketing and Sales, ISOT, London, to deliver the special address on the topic, Charting the Path to the New Normal. Over to you, Dr. Leji Eliama George.
A very pleasant day to one and all present here. Every email provides an opportunity to impart and receive knowledge. Amidst this pandemic, just at a click, two countries across the seas have come together to impart and receive knowledge. It is indeed a proud moment to have with us Mr. Will Schwartz, Vice President, Marketing and Sales, ISOT, United Kingdom. He is working in ISOT since 2005. He is responsible for the sales, marketing, and pre-sales of engineering functions. An MBA from Lancaster University, he is a fellow member of the Royal Society of Arts and has been a board member of XMPP Standards Foundations. Prior to joining ISOT, Sir has worked in the field of marketing for software companies in accountancy and design markets. Caring has the gift of making the ordinary special. Yes, love for humanity is highly apt for Mr. Will Schwartz, who during his spare time volunteers for the dementia charity Playlist for Life. We appreciate your enthusiasm and interest to spread joy among our fellow beings. He also volunteers at the Brooklands Motorsport and Aviation Museum. He has a passion for restoring classic cars and finds time out to give life to these extinct cars. We wish you all success and may your dreams come true. I welcome you, sir, to this international webinar on Business Dynamics 2020. Over to Mr. Will Schwartz for his address on charting the path to the new normal.
Good morning. I hope everybody can hear and see me properly. I'd like to firstly thank you very much for inviting me today. It's a great honor to be here. Here being a very strange term in these sort of meetings. So I've been inviting today to talk about charting the path to the new normal. And because I work in the sort of company that I do, I'm going to illustrate that with lessons from what we have learned since March. Some of these are fairly obvious things, and some of these are probably lessons that we would have learned over the next few years anyway, given that in many cases, the way this pandemic is affecting business is simply to accelerate trends that are already ongoing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some slides with you. Let me just see if I can share my screen properly here. Okay, so charting the path to the new normal. Now, as I said, I work for a company called ISOT. We are a software company based in the UK. We're pretty small. We're about 42, 43 employees.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, your voice is not audible, sir.
Is this any better?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for letting me know.
Thank you, sir.
So there we have a lesson on the new normal already. Be sure to check that your microphone is working properly. So we have about 43 employees in 7 countries. So we do have a fair amount of experience of working remotely, albeit that our only major office is in the UK. So we're using an element of it works. You would have thought we could have adapted to this situation fairly easily. So in this brief talk, what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline how we did business before the pandemic in order to give you a proper understanding of why we've made the changes we've made. And then we'll talk about what changes we have made during the pandemic in order to adapt our business model, and what lessons we've learned from implementing those changes. I think a lot of those lessons are going to be permanent ones, not necessarily because the pandemic is going to be permanent. Let's all hope that isn't the situation, but because, as I mentioned earlier, we're really accelerating an existing trend over the last few months, and some of the things we're doing now as a way of coping with the pandemic will stay with us in the future as we decide that they are simply better ways of working. So let's move on and look at how we do business, or rather how we did business prior to, I suppose, the middle towards or the end of March. We as a company don't sell directly to end users. There are too many of them in too many countries. We operate in about 70 countries. So we sell to systems integrators who will combine our products with products of other companies to fulfill the need of the end user for a complete solution. The normal process of our sale is that the end users will conduct a review of the technology available in the marketplace. They will then issue what's called a request for proposal. Once they've finished that technology review, a number of different systems integrators will respond to that request by proposing a system that includes our software, hopefully, and other products and other software from other suppliers. And then finally, the end user will select a winning bid. Now, despite there only being 4 fairly straightforward steps to this process, on average, a sale in our marketplace will take about 18 to 24 months. There are also usually several months after the sale when we're expected to give very close attention to the end user, to the customer, and to give them a lot of support in getting their system up and running. Now, our marketing strategy has always been to position ourselves as a technology leader and innovator, and to try and talk to technologists working amongst the end users, and to make them aware of our capabilities. And then we also talk to technical and commercial decision makers at the systems integrators to persuade them to put our software in their bids. So how do we normally do this? Well, obviously, we advertise in relevant trade publications, and there are a fair amount of those around. We make a lot of information available on a very complex website. It's worth noting that we take a slightly different marketing approach. Many companies will describe what their products do, but they won't describe how they do them. We do both of those because we are appealing to technologists who don't react well to normal marketing messages. We also attend a lot of international exhibitions that are relevant to our market sector in order to make new contacts and raise our profile and to support our existing systems integrators and customers. And we also make our software available for evaluations, and for some time, and sometimes for very important prospects or important customers, that support is done in person by one of our pre-sales engineers. So there are two vital parts of our marketing mix, doing exhibitions and doing in-person support, which suddenly became unavailable to us at the end of March this year, which is when the UK went into lockdown. So as an illustration, in the year prior to the pandemic, we went to and invested heavily in exhibitions in Madrid, Hawaii in the USA, San Diego in the USA, and Slovakia in Eastern Europe. Since the start of that pandemic in March and the associated restrictions we've all faced on international travel, we've missed major defense exhibitions in Seattle, in Malaysia, in the UK, and there's another exhibition in the US in October that we would normally attend and would be very good for us, which has also been cancelled. In fact, our next scheduled exhibition is now in Japan in May 2021. I'm extremely doubtful whether that's going to go ahead. So in total, going to exhibitions accounts for about 30% of our marketing spend for the year. And these are the only time we can comfortably meet and talk to a large cross-section of our customer base at the same time. Now, I mentioned earlier that our sales take 18 to 24 months, and we had this hope at the beginning of the pandemic that everything would be over in a couple of months and we'd all go back to normal and it wouldn't really affect our sales cycle. Well, this sadly has turned out not to be the case. Even for technology businesses like us with experience in operating remotely, things have developed so that major changes have been required. So what changes have we made? Well, we've had to try and compensate for the lack of exhibitions, firstly. Many exhibition organizers immediately switched to trying holding online exhibitions to replace the physical contact ones that they were organizing. In my opinion, this sadly has not been a success in any meaningful way. Virtual presentations are good for imparting information, but they're less effective when it comes to question and answer sessions, especially at the start of the pandemic when most people were still struggling to get to grips with the technology needed to enable these events. And of course, there's no way virtually yet to simulate the accidental and fortuitous meetings that often occur between individuals at exhibitions. You know, the sort of thing you're wandering around, you see a stand for a company that you didn't know you were interested in, but turns out to be very interesting to you. I don't think these sort of virtual exhibitions, as they are currently structured, are going to be very successful until such time as there's a major change in, say, virtual reality technology. So secondly, face-to-face meetings. These are for both technical support and commercial meetings. Now, we've always used virtual meetings as a way of communicating internally. If you have staff in 7 countries, you have to do that. And like many other companies, we've come to rely on them as a way recently of reinforcing our sales message. We're now conducting significantly larger number of virtual meetings with customers and prospects using video conferencing technology. And in my opinion, this actually means that we're talking to our prospects and customers in a face-to-face way far more than we did before. Video conferencing hasn't just replaced face-to-face meetings. It's even replaced a lot of the phone calls we make and some of the more complicated and long email exchanges we would have. It's become a normal desktop tool over the last few months, used for ad hoc communication in the same way that the telephone has long been, rather than a special event that you would arrange in advance and conduct from a meeting room. Now, this has caused some problems in keeping records with about our interactions with our customers. But overall, I would consider it to be a surprising benefit of the situation we found ourselves in the last few months. Having video calls with customers and prospects we normally only communicate with via email or phone has helped us to understand them better and establish good working relationships with them far faster than we normally would. Of course, if you're conducting business meetings face-to-face, there's a pretty sharp learning curve in learning how to conduct yourself in a virtual meeting from home. How should you dress? Should you dress as you would in a physical meeting? Should you behave in the same formal manner? No matter how much you might tend otherwise, there's a different professional atmosphere when conducting a business meeting at home, from your kitchen or your spare bedroom, than there is from conducting exactly the same meeting from a boardroom or a meeting room in an office. But we found it's very important to try and duplicate the professional approach when we're doing our new virtual meetings. We've always been aware that any company can look competent with a very good website and look impressive with a very good website. But customers know this, and they rely on other things, such as the meetings we have and the advertising we do, to reinforce the impression and decide how real that image is. So thirdly, we've made changes to advertising. Now, you would have thought that advertising, which is always a remote activity, would be completely unaffected by the pandemic. However, it turns out this is not the case, at least as far as we're concerned. We found over the course of the last few months that in both written communications and virtual meetings, that our new customers are responding more positively to messages that emphasize stability. Now, this is a particular issue for software companies because we're used to messages about innovation. Software companies are all about innovation. But the pressure we found on decision makers to stick to what they know and to stick to safe options has increased during the pandemic. So therefore, in our advertising, we're starting to emphasize themes of safety and stability rather than our normal themes of innovation and change. So let's have a quick look at what lessons we've learned during the pandemic. Well, firstly, we've learned that in the absence of physical meetings, you must take extra opportunities to reinforce the central theme of your marketing message. We've learned that planned interactions like meetings have been adequately replaced by video conferencing. As I say, now that it's a desktop tool for everyone in the company, video conferencing is replacing casual phone calls and emails as the preferred method of communication. I think we're going to stick with that as well. We've learned to be grateful. I think, after all, it's not that long ago that flying halfway around the world for a business meeting or an exhibition would have been completely unthinkable. And yet businesses still thrived and grew without any of the fantastic communication advances that we have available to us today. We've also learned that it's a little harder to replace the unplanned interactions with colleagues, prospects, and customers. Those serendipitous encounters with colleagues in the office, customers at a public event like an exhibition, play a very key and underreported part in how businesses evolve, and indeed how staff learn. One of the things I think we have to be careful of here is that for existing experienced staff, this is not much of a difference from the way they would normally do business. But if you're a new staff member in a small company or even in a large company, learning from colleagues in the office, picking up on those conversations about things that aren't directly related to your work, but which are nevertheless interesting to the business as a whole, are key ways in which you develop as a professional. And we've yet to figure out what the impact will be of taking away those interactions in the office. We're still working on that one. We'll find a way, I'm sure. We've also learned that in times of social instability, if there's a lot of instability in the world, then marketing messages should not concentrate on innovation. They should talk about stability to provide somewhat of a balance. People are affected in their business decision-making by things that are happening in society far more than any of us would imagine. We've also learned, incidentally, that reducing prices is probably a mistake. This isn't something we're keen on doing anyway, but on the rare occasions when we've recently decided to offer discounts on software to customers and potential customers, they're often suspicious. They wonder if the pandemic has hit us very hard. They ask if we are going out of business. Of course, we're not. So in that respect, we try to keep business as normal. But I think the biggest thing that we've learned, and this I think is a good point to end the presentation. The biggest thing we've learned is that we can adapt. That's the major lesson I think that many businesses have learned or relearned during this pandemic. We've learned again the value of flexibility and adaptation. The title to this talk was Charting the Path to the New Normal. And that title implies correctly that this is a new path with no maps to aid us. And yet we are very fortunate in that we are not completely without help on that path. We have modern technology, we have the support of society and friends, we have our education, and we have our basic human nature, all of which have equipped us very well with the tools and flexibility we need to overcome the business and personal challenges of the last few months, to learn the lessons from those challenges and use those lessons to chart a better path in the future. And I think that's the positive point that I'd like to end on this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for that inspiring and motivating talk. I'm sure as academicians, we have also decided to adapt, and we are already adapting to the new normal. Just as customers like stability, we also will move forward and ensure that the student community also becomes stable in this life. Whatever be our unplanned interactions, whether they are replaced or not replaced, we will move forward and march ahead. We take every opportunity to reinforce, just as the marketing message goes, and we take every opportunity to improve and learn from our colleagues, and always we believe that teamwork never fails. Thank you so much, sir, for that inspiring message.
Thank you again for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. May I now call upon Dr. G.M. Devanayagi, Associate Professor, to introduce Mrs. Banu Saundar, Chief Financial Officer, ISO London, UK, to motivate us on the topic Vetri Kudigathu. Over to you, Dr. Devanayagi.
கனவு காணுங்கள், ஆனால் கனவு என்பது நீ தூக்கத்தில் காண்பது அல்ல. உன்னை தூங்க விடாமல் பண்ணுவது எதுவோ அதுவே லட்சிய கனவு. Well said by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. A very good morning to one and all present in this online forum. It's a great honor and privilege for me to introduce and welcome our chief guest of the day, Mrs. Banu Saundar, Chief Financial Officer, ISO London. She has joined ISO as Chief Financial Officer in March 2014, where she is responsible for all aspects of ISO's financial affairs, including management, financial reporting, treasury, and tax affairs. Prior to joining ISO, she spent almost 2 decades working in a variety of services, senior positions, running all finance functions of SMEs that also included company transformations. She started her UK industry working career as an accountant of the ISO Limited in 1995. Since then, she has worked in a range of industries spanning mobile telephony, food distribution, construction, and public-private partnership. She is also a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and an associate member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales. She enjoys reading, cycling, yoga, and Rangoli art in her spare time. It is indeed our proud privilege to have our eminent personality amongst us today. Once again, I extend a very warm welcome to you, ma'am, to take over the session.
Ma'am, could you kindly unmute yourself?
ஆஷா அவங்க மேம் அன்மியூட் பண்ணி தான் இருக்காங்க, பட் வாய்ஸ் தான் நாட் ஆடிபிள். ஆஷா,
Yes, ma'am. It is not audible, ma'am.
இட்ஸ் நாட் ஆடிபிள்.
Yes, ma'am.
Banu, is there any difficulty? You are not audible.
Ma'am, we are not able to hear you, ma'am.
Just give her a minute. Let's see.
Hi, Smriti. இப்ப காதுல விழுதா?
Yes, ma'am. Now it is audible.
Okay. Okay, fine. I'll start again then. Okay. இங்கு கூடியிருக்கும் அண்ணா ஆதர்ஷ் கல்லூரி முதல்வருக்கும் பேராசிரியர் பெருமக்களுக்கும் கார்ப் ஸ்டார்ஸ் என்று அழைக்கப்படும் விண்மீன்களாக ஜொலிக்கும் மாணவிகளுக்கும் தலைமை விருந்தினருக்கும் ஏனைய பேச்சாளர்களுக்கும் இந்த விழாவுக்கு வந்திருக்கும் அனைவருக்கும் என் முதற்கண் வணக்கம். I would at the outset like to thank my colleague Will, who gave a wonderful presentation this morning. He accepted this commission at a very short notice. Thank you, Will. Your presentation was excellent. I really enjoyed it. இன்றைக்கு எனக்கு முதலில் கொடுக்கப்பட்ட தலைப்பு Key Learnings from Crisis. ஆம், நெருக்கடிதான். இந்த நோய் தொற்று ஒரு நெருக்கடி. ஆனால் நெருக்கடியின் மறுபக்கம் வாய்ப்பு. இந்த நெருக்கடி இல்லாவிட்டால் இந்த இனிய காலை பொழுதில் லண்டன் மாநகரிலிருந்து என் வீட்டு அலுவலகத்திலிருந்து உங்கள் அனைவருடன் இந்த விழாவில் கலந்து கொள்ள எனக்கு வாய்ப்பு கிடைத்திருக்குமா? கண்டிப்பாக கிடைத்திருக்காது. எங்கள் தலைமுறைக்கு இது நெருக்கடி. நாங்கள் ஒரு மாதிரியாக வாழ பழகி கொண்டு விட்டோம். எங்களுக்கு அலுவலகம் செல்ல வேண்டும், வேலை செய்ய வேண்டும் என்றால், சாமான் வாங்க வேண்டும் என்றால் கடைக்கு செல்ல வேண்டும். அது எங்கள் வாழ்க்கை முறை. அந்த வாழ்க்கை முறையை இந்த நோய் தொற்று புரட்டி போட்டு விட்டது. அதனால் எங்களுக்கு இது நெருக்கடி. ஆனால் உங்கள் தலைமுறைக்கு இது சவால். சவாலின் மறுபக்கம் சந்தர்ப்பம். எந்த ஒரு சூழலிலும் ஒரு சவால் இருந்தால் அதிலிருந்து பல புதிய எண்ணங்கள் வரத்தான் செய்யும். உங்கள் தலைமுறை இந்த சவாலை மிகவும் வெற்றிகரமாக சந்திக்கும் என்பதில் எனக்கு எந்த ஐயமும் இல்லை. ஏனென்றால் எனக்கு இளைய தலைமுறையின் மீது மிக மிக நம்பிக்கை உண்டு. நாங்க கோடு போட்டா நீங்க ரோடு போடுவீங்க. நீங்கள் அமைக்கும் சாலைகள் மிகவும் அழகானவை. தப்பி தவறி நீங்க வழி தவறி போயிட்டீங்கன்னா வழிகாட்டிகளான எங்கள் மேல் தான் தவறே தவிர உங்கள் மேல் அல்ல. இப்ப பாருங்க, நீங்க ஒரு ஜர்னல் வெளியிட்டு இருக்கீங்க, நேத்திக்கு சொல்றாங்க உங்க அதுல 57 ஆர்டிக்கல் 230 பக்கம் அப்படின்னு. உங்களுக்கு சொல்றதுக்கு என்கிட்ட என்னங்க இருக்கு? உங்களுக்கு மிக மிக நல்ல ஒரு திறமையும் உற்சாகமும் ஊக்கமும் இருக்கிறது. இளைய தலைமுறையினால் இந்த சவாலை மிகவும் வெற்றிகரமாக சந்திக்க முடியும் என்ற நம்பிக்கை எனக்கு இருக்கிறது. இருந்தாலும் வாழ்வின் முதல் படிக்கட்டில் இருக்கும் உங்களுக்கு இந்த சவாலை சந்திக்க என்னால் எந்த வகையிலாவது உதவ முடியுமா என்று யோசித்த போது எல்லா தலைமுறைகளுக்கும் பொதுவான வெற்றியின் திறவுகோல்கள் சிலவற்றை உங்களுடன் பகிர்ந்து கொள்ளலாம் என்று எனக்கு தோன்றியது. முதல்ல நான் உங்ககிட்ட சொல்றது, நிறைய படியுங்க. படிக்கிறதுல பல வகை இருக்கு. உங்க தொழில் சார்ந்த படிப்பு மிக மிக அவசியம். அடுத்து உங்களை சுத்தி நடக்கும் நாட்டு நடப்பு, தொழில்நுட்ப முன்னேற்றங்கள், இவைகளை பற்றிய அறிவும் மிக மிக அவசியம். இதுக்கெல்லாம் நீங்க படிச்சுதான் ஆகணும். இதையும் மீறி உங்க அறிவு கண்ணை திறக்கிறதுக்கு பல வகையான நல்ல புத்தகங்களை படிப்பது மிகவும் அவசியம். உங்கள் அறிவாற்றலை, கற்பனா சக்தியை வளர்க்க வரலாறு, புராணங்கள், பன்மொழி இலக்கியங்கள், பெருந்தலைவர்கள் வாழ்க்கை வரலாறு என்று பல புத்தகங்களை படியுங்கள். உலகின் பல சாதனையாளர்கள் இதைத்தான் செய்கிறார்கள். இப்ப நீங்க கேட்க போறீங்க, எங்க மேடம் எங்களுக்கு டைம்? இப்பவே முடியல, இன்னும் 5-10 வருஷம் ஆனா எங்களுக்கு வேற வாழ்க்கையில பொறுப்புகள், குழந்தைகள், வீட்டு வேலைகள், அலுவலக வேலை இன்னும் எவ்வளவோ இருக்கும் என்று. முன்னாள் அமெரிக்க ஜனாதிபதி ஒபாமா அவர் பதவியில் இருக்கும் போதே தினமும் 1 மணி நேரம் படிக்கிறதுக்கு ஒதுக்குவாராம். நாம ஒண்ணும் அமெரிக்க ஜனாதிபதியை விட பிஸி இல்லைன்னு எனக்கு தோன்றதுங்க. இந்த மாதிரி படிக்கும் பழக்கம் கொண்ட சாதனையாளர்கள் பட்டியலை பாத்தீங்கன்னா மிக மிக நீளம். சாதனையாளர் பட்டியல்ல நீங்க சேரணும்னா இப்பவே படிக்க ஆரம்பிங்க. இப்ப நான் ஒண்ணு செய்யறேன். நான் எங்க வீட்டு வேலை செய்யறச்சையோ, தோட்ட வேலை செய்யறச்சையோ, இல்ல வாக்கிங் செய்யறச்சையோ ஒரு ஆடியோ புக் என் காதுல ஓடிக்கிட்டு இருக்கும். ஏன்னா இப்ப இருக்கிற தொழில்நுட்ப முன்னேற்றங்கள் நமக்கு பலவிதமான உதவிகளை செய்கிறது. படிக்க வேண்டும் என்று நினைத்தீர்கள் என்றால் அதற்கு பல வழிகள் இருக்கின்றது. படிப்பதற்கு நீங்கள் செலவழிக்கும் நேரம் உங்கள் எதிர்காலத்துக்கு நீங்கள் செய்யும் முதலீடு. படிப்பவர்கள் அனைவரும் தலைவர்கள் ஆவதில்லை, ஆனால் தலைவர்கள் அனைவரும் படிப்பாளிகள். அதனால் படிக்கும் பழக்கம் உங்களுக்கு இல்லை என்றால் இன்றே படிக்க ஆரம்பியுங்கள். படிப்பாளிகள் என்றால் படிக்கும் பழக்கத்தை கண்டிப்பாக விட்டு விடாதீர்கள். அடுத்தது கடினமான உழைப்பு. நம்ம எல்லாருக்கும் தெரிஞ்ச ஒரு பாட்டு உண்டுங்க, புத்தியுள்ள மனிதரெல்லாம் வெற்றி காண்பதில்லை, வெற்றி பெற்ற மனிதரெல்லாம் புத்திசாலி இல்லை. ஏங்க அப்படி? ஆமையும் முயலும் கதையில வரா மாதிரி நம்ம இளம் பிராயத்துல சூப்பர் ஸ்டார்னு நினைச்சவங்க சில பேரு பிற்காலத்துல மின்னறது இல்ல. ரொம்ப சுமாரா இருந்தவங்க சிலர் பிரமாதமா வராங்க. எதனால? என்ன கேட்டீங்கன்னா கடின உழைப்பு தான் காரணம் நான் சொல்வேன். குறைஞ்சபட்சம் சில பேருக்கு வேணா அதிர்ஷ்டம் காரணமா இருக்கலாம். ஆனால் பல பேருக்கு கடின உழைப்பு தான் வெற்றிக்கு வழி. நம்ம எல்லாருக்கும் தெரிஞ்ச ஒரு மேற்கோள் உண்டு, தாமஸ் ஆல்வா எடிசன் சொன்னது, ஜீனியஸ் இஸ் 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration. ஜீனியஸ்னு நம்ம கருதுறவங்க பல பேரு இத ஒத்துப்பாங்க. ஒரு மிகச்சிறந்த டென்னிஸ் வீரர் ரோஜர் ஃபெடரர், அவரை கேட்டாங்களாம், நீங்க இவ்வளவு நல்லா விளையாடுறதுக்கு காரணம் நீங்க ஒரு ஜீனியஸா அப்படின்னு. அவர் சொன்னாரா, ஆமாங்க நான் ஜீனியஸ் தான், ஆனா நான் ஜீனியஸா ஆகிறதுக்கு மிக கடுமையாக உழைத்தேன் என்று. எந்த துறையா இருந்தாலும் அந்த துறையில வெற்றி பெறறதுக்கு குறைந்தபட்சம் 10,000 மணி நேரம் பயிற்சி தேவை என்று ஒரு ஸ்டடி சொல்கிறது. நான் 30 வருடங்களாக லண்டன் மாநகரில் 3 தொழிலதிபர்களுடன் நிதி இயக்குநராக வேலை செய்திருக்கிறேன். இவர்கள் அனைவரும் அவரவர் தொழில் ஜாம்பவான்கள். இவங்க கிட்ட எல்லார்கிட்டையும் ஒரு பொதுவான குணம் உண்டு. பின் தூங்கி முன்னெழுவாள் பத்தினி அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி, நான் வேலைக்கு போறச்சா அவங்க ஏற்கனவே வேலையில இருப்பாங்க. நான் வீட்டுக்கு வரைச்சா அவங்க வீட்டை விடை பெற்றுன்னு தான் வரணும். காலையில இருந்த மாதிரியே நான் விடை பெற்றுன்னு வரும்போதும் மலர்ந்த முகத்துடன், அவர்கள் அன்றைக்கு எந்த பிரச்சனைகளை சந்தித்தாலும் சரி, அவர்கள் செய்யும் தொழிலே தெய்வம், அதில் திறமைதான் அவர்கள் செல்வம் என்று மிகவும் சந்தோஷத்துடன் அந்த கடின உழைப்பை அவர்கள் தினமும் செய்து கொண்டிருப்பார்கள். அவர்கள் தொழிலதிபர்களாக வெற்றி பெறுவதற்கு அந்த கடின உழைப்பு தான் காரணம் என்பதை நான் பக்கத்தில் இருந்து பார்த்திருக்கிறேன். நீங்க எல்லாரும் உழைப்பாளிங்க தான், இல்லைன்னு நான் சொல்ல மாட்டேன். உழைக்காம நீங்க ஒரு கல்லூரியில படிக்க முடியாது, மேல் படிப்பு படிக்க மாட்டீங்க. ஆனா ஓரளவு முடிஞ்ச அளவுக்கு உழைக்கலாம் அப்படிங்கிறது அது ஒரு லெவல். முடிஞ்சதை தாண்டி மிக மிக கடினமாக உழைப்பது என்பது அடுத்த லெவல். இப்போ உங்களுக்கு ஒரு ப்ராஜெக்ட் இருக்கு, நீங்க ஒரு 40 பக்கம் ப்ராஜெக்ட் ஒரு 4 நாள் செய்யறீங்க, சப்மிட் பண்றீங்க, அதுல வருது உங்களுக்கு பாஸ் மார்க். இன்னும் ஒரு 2 நாள் இரவு பகலாக உழைத்து அதனை அழகுபடுத்தி அதை செம்மைப்படுத்தி அதில் உள்ள ரெஃபரன்ஸை செக் பண்ணி நீங்க சப்மிட் பண்ணீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு வருவது முதல் மார்க். நீங்க செய்யற எல்லா வேலையையும் மிக மிக அதிக கவனம் எடுத்து இன்னும் முனைப்பா செஞ்சீங்கன்னா வெற்றி நிச்சயம். முடிந்ததை செய்வது வாழ்க்கைக்கு வழி, முடியாத போதும் கடின உழைப்புடன் முனைந்து செய்வது வெற்றிக்கு வழி. சரி, உங்க பங்குக்கு நீங்க உங்க அறிவையும் திறமையும் வளர்த்துக் கொள்கிறீர்கள், கடினமாக வேலை செய்யறீங்க. ஆனா வாழ்க்கை என்பது எதிர்பாராத திருப்பங்களும் விறுவிறுப்பான சம்பவங்களும் நிறைந்த ஒன்று. தோல்விகளை அது தரும்போது தடுமாறாத மன உறுதி மிக மிக முக்கியம். அமெரிக்காவின் கருப்பர் இனத்தவரின் அடிமைத்தலையை ஒழிக்க காரணமாயிருந்த நாம் அனைவரும் அறிந்த ஜனாதிபதி ஏப்ரஹாம் லிங்கன். மிகவும் வறுமையில் பிறந்த அவர் வாழ்க்கையில் 8 முறை தேர்தல் தோல்வி, 2 முறை வியாபாரத்தில் தோல்வி, இதனை சந்தித்ததோடு வாழ்நாள் முழுவதும் மன அழுத்தத்தால் பாதிக்கப்பட்டவராம். ஆனா இதையெல்லாம் கண்டு அவர் தவழலைங்க, வரலாற்றில் இடம் பிடித்தார். சரி, இதை சொல்றது ரொம்ப சுலபம், செய்யறது ரொம்ப கடினம். நம்ம கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கோம் இல்லையா, துன்பம் வரும் வேளையிலே சிரிங்க என்று சொல்லி வச்சான் வள்ளுவனும் சரிங்க, பாம்பு வந்து கடிக்கையில் பாழும் உடல் துடிக்கையில் யார் முகத்தில் பொங்கி வரும் சிரிப்பு என்று. ஆம், மிகவும் கஷ்டம். நம்ம இந்த மாதிரி சவால்களை சமாளிக்க தடுமாறும் போது நமக்கு தேவை நம்மை ஆதரிக்கக்கூடிய சுற்றமும் நட்பும். ஒரு சிலர் நம்மளை எப்பவுமே ஏளனம் செய்வாங்க, அவங்கள நீங்க ஒதுக்கிடுங்க. அது போல சில பேர் உதட்டளவில் நட்பு பாராட்டுவார்கள். பேஸ்புக்ல லைக் போட 1000 பேர் வருவாங்க, சரியா? ஆனா நமக்கு தேவை கை தூக்கி விடக்கூடிய சில நண்பர்கள் தான், அரவணைக்க கூடிய சில உறவுகள் தான். இதுவும் கடந்து போகும் என்ற பொறுமை, என்னால் முடியும் என்ற மன உறுதியை நீங்கள் வளர்த்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள். நல்ல நட்பையும் உறவுகளையும் தக்க வைத்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள். எதையும் தாங்கும் இதயத்துடன் வாழ்க்கையை எதிர்கொள்ளுங்கள். உங்களை உடைக்க முடியாத தடைக்கற்கள் உங்கள் வாழ்வின் படிக்கற்கள். அந்த வகையில் இந்த நோய் தொற்றும் அந்த மாதிரி உங்கள் வாழ்வின் முதல் தடைக்கல், அதுவே உங்கள் வெற்றியின் முதல் படிக்கல்லாக மாறும் என்பதில் எனக்கு எந்த விதமான ஐயமும் இல்லை. என்னை அறிமுகப்படுத்தினுச்சே பல அடையாளங்களை சொன்னாங்க. எனக்கு மிகவும் பெருமை தரக்கூடிய அடையாளமாக நான் கருதுவது என் 2 மகள்களின் தாய் என்பதை. இங்கு கூடியிருக்கும் மாணவிகளான உங்கள் அனைவரையும் என் மகளாக பாவித்து நான் எழுதிய மடல் ஒன்றை உங்களுடன் பகிர்ந்து கொள்ள விரும்புகிறேன். மகளுக்கோர் மடல். காரிகை அவள் மை போல் கருப்பு என்பார் காரியம் உன் கையெல்லாம் அவர் அறியார். பெண் அவள் குண்டு இழைக்க வேண்டும் என்பார், அறிவில் நீ சளைத்தவள் இல்லை அவர் அறியார். தோற்றத்தைக் கண்டு ஏளனம் செய்வோர் முன் ஏற்றமிகு எண்ணத்தை நீ என்றும் கைவிடாதே. கணக்கு அவளுக்கு ஆமணக்கு என்பார். கலைகள் பலவற்றில் நீ அரசி என்பதறியார். ஆங்கிலத்தில் அவளுக்கு ஆர்வமில்லை என்பார். தாய் தமிழின் மேல் உன் பற்று அறியாதார். ஊர் அறியாவிட்டாலும் உன் திறமைகளை நீ அறிவாய். உற்சாகத்துடனும் துடிப்புடனும் அவற்றில் உயர்வாய். தன்னம்பிக்கையும் நன்னடத்தையும் உன் தாய் வீட்டு சீதனம். அயராத உழைப்பும் அழகான புன்னகையும் உன் ஆபரணம். அகத்தின் அழகு மகத்தானது உன்னுடையது. ஜகத்தினை வென்றுவா மகளே, வாழ்த்துகிறேன். வெற்றி கொடி நீ நாட்டும் போது விண்ணை பிளக்கும் கரவொலி, அதுவே இந்த அன்னையின் ஆசையின் எதிரொலி. உங்கள் அனைவரின் வெற்றிக்கும் என் வாழ்த்துக்கள். இந்த மிக நல்ல வாய்ப்பை அளித்த கல்லூரி முதல்வருக்கும் கார்ப்பரேட் செக்ரட்டரிஷிப் துறை தலைவருக்கும் மிக்க நன்றி. A very special thanks to my friend and associate professor Sumati, who was instrumental in arranging this. Thank you very much.
மிக்க நன்றி பானுமதி அவர்களே. I am sure our students will take this message from you, and it's been really an inspiring speech. I think I can hear my students saying yes, they will. Thank you very much for coming all the way from London and giving a good piece of advice to our dear students. மிக்க நன்றி பானு, மிக்க நன்றி.
மிக்க நன்றி திருமதி பானு சௌந்தர் அவர்களே. படிப்பு, கடின உழைப்பு, மன உறுதி, தன்னம்பிக்கை இவை அனைத்தும் வெற்றிக்கான ரகசியம் என்பதை என் மாணவர்களிடம் கொண்டு சேர்த்த உங்களுக்கு மிக்க நன்றி. Now it's time to felicitate our creators of Focus. Over to you, Dr. Mary Geetham.
Good morning, one and all. I would like to thank all the eminent speakers from foreign countries and our hometown. Dr. Shant ma'am, our principal, Dr. Radhika ma'am, HOD, and my dear colleagues and students. I'm happy to enlighten you about the people who helped us in bringing out this journal. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts, says Winston Churchill. First and foremost, I would like to thank God for He has given the strength and courage to carry on the journal even during this pandemic situation. And then I would like to appreciate every staff and students of Department Corporate Secretaryship who have taken the effort to bring out this journal in this particular international webinar. Writing is not painting where you add. It is not what you put on the canvas the reader sees. Writing is more like a sculpture where you eliminate in order to make the work visible. Even those pages you know somehow remain. There is a difference between a book of 200 pages, which is a result of an original 800 pages. The 600 pages are there, only you don't see them. Universal. Yes, first I would like to thank each and everyone who have presented their paper for the Focus Journal, because without their contribution, this journal wouldn't have come in this form. So thank you once again. Success is no accident. It is a hard perseverance, learning, studying, sacrificing, and most of all, love of what you are doing or learning to do. Yes, we would like to appreciate such lovable students. They are no other than the passed out girls R.M. Saraswati, Pooja Ravi, and P. Sonia, who have spent nearly 3 months on this Focus Journal by working on it as well as coordinating with other students and putting in all their efforts in bringing out this journal. Let the reader find that he cannot afford to omit any line of your writing because you have omitted words that he can spare. Emerson. Now, we would like to facilitate those editing girls who have given their best. They are Malini P, Padmini G, and Uditi GS. If you are working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you in. Steve Jobs, the vision of the journal Focus, has pulled Malini P, Chef One, to be the creator of the cover design and Shalini to be the e-designer. Few are those who see with their own eyes and feel with their own hearts. Albert Einstein. That's true. When we have to coordinate with so many people, we have to use our eyes as well as hearts to organize. Otherwise, it is very difficult. Now we are going to see such coordinating girls. They are Deepika Varshini E, Meena A from shift 2, Mandagini from shift 2. A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. Winston Churchill. Yes, we would like to facilitate those optimistic girls who see only the opportunity and not the difficulty. They are Jasmine Johnson and Asma Flynn from Shift 2. As we all know that during this pandemic situation, coordinating is a very difficult job as we cannot personally see each one of us and we meet only through our Gmeet and voicemail. Thank you once again for all the girls who have put on their effort. All the best, girls, for your future endeavors. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mary.
Every day is a day of achievement. The blessings of God Almighty has made this day a day of achievement. I take this opportunity to thank all the eminent speakers who spent their valuable time with us to make this webinar a memorable one. Our thanks to our well-wisher, Company Secretary Dr. B. Ravi, who has been the guiding force for the release of Journal Focus. Thank you very much, sir, for your constant support and encouragement. Our gratitude and thanks to CA Dr. Gopal Krishna Raju for delivering the keynote address and inspiring the young generation on how to restore, revive, and restructure business disruptions. Thank you very much, sir. Our special thanks to Dr. Harini Mittal, our alumni, who we are very proud of. Thank you, Dr. Harini, for giving valuable inputs to our students. A special word of thanks to Ms. Varsha Kulkarni, who very clearly explained a virtual setup in a manufacturing industry. Thank you, ma'am. Our gratitude and thanks to Mr. Will Schwerd, who accepted our invitation at very short notice and enriched our students with the much needed aspect of charting the path to a new normal. Thank you, sir, for enlightening our students. Special thanks to Mrs. Banu Soundar for her motivational talk, which I am sure has inspired many a heart. Thank you, ma'am. All this would not have been possible if not for the support, guidance from Dr. R. Shanti, Principal, Anna Adarsh College for Women, the management, the Punjab Association for being a pillar of strength in all our endeavors, and the IQAC members of Anna Adarsh College for Women. My deep sense of gratitude to Dr. P. Radhika, Head, Department of Corporate Secretaryship, for her meticulous planning of the program. My special thanks to all my faculty members of the Corporate Secretaryship Department who proved that teamwork never fails. I will be failing in my duty if I do not thank Dr. S. Sumati, Associate Professor, Department of Corporate Secretaryship, who coordinated the entire proceedings. My thanks to Dr. R. Mary Geetam, Dr. A. Uma Maheshwari, Dr. G. Varalakshmi, and Mrs. K. Sharmila for their untiring efforts to bring this journal to its present form. My appreciation to all my colleagues of Anna Adarsh College. My appreciation is also to all my students of the Department of Corporate Secretaryship for their active participation. The guiding light for the smooth presentation of this webinar is due to the tiring efforts of Dr. Asha Banu and Mrs. V. Suita. Thank you for this excellent MC. All things end well virtually, only with the support of our technical staff. We profusely thank Mrs. Jasmine and Mr. Saravanan for their timely help and support. I thank all the viewers who have made a mark for our program. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, viewers, for watching our show. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Excellent, Leji.